At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from the Final Four Radio Row in Indianapolis, Westwood One presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Welcome in, live from Indy and the Final Four. I'm Chris Bleck, along with Adam Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We're on the air until 3 Eastern today. I'm Chris Bleck, along with Adam Abdalla here on SiriusXM Channel 375 and all of our great affiliates around the country. We have the Final Four tomorrow here in Indy. Abdalla, we have been here for the last 2 days. The fans are showing up to Indy. There are people all over the downtown area this morning. They're getting ready, and that's what makes the Final Four so cool, is you get 4 fan bases converging on one location, and essentially, up until tip, it's a party. Because once the games start, 2 fan bases will go home, not happy after Saturday. So that's what makes the Final Four so cool. But that's why you get 4 fan bases coming together, and the excitement in the town that is the host city is always great.
Yeah, and it seems like all the buses pulled up today, and the fans just started
pouring out.
Yeah, like all the cars started pulling up, and like this Indianapolis is just, when we woke up today, it was just full of fans. Everybody started arriving this morning or last night, and now it starts to feel like this is happening right now. So everybody is showing up. You're starting to feel the vibe of the city, and now it starts to feel like the Final Four is really going to take place tomorrow here in Indianapolis. It's great.
It's Bleck and Abdalla, so we are on for the next 3 hours here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Robbie Hummel joins Bleck and Abdalla now to preview the NCAA Final Four here in Indy. Robbie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me here.
When you look at these 2 matchups that we have tomorrow, what is the number one storyline that catches your attention as we kind of go towards Saturday and the actual games taking place?
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, but I think just that the 2 best teams all season in Arizona and Michigan meet tomorrow night in the national semifinal. They've been phenomenal all year from the first day of the season through today, and the level of talent on both those teams, the front courts are just stacked. You look at both those teams, and whether it's Arizona with Koa Pete, Ivan Karchenkov, Mo Krivas, and I'll throw Tobe Awaka in there, even though he comes off the bench, going up against the Mara, Lendeborg, Merez John, like that is the varsity of front courts in this sport. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm curious if Michigan's guards, I think on paper, if you were to look at Arizona's guard play, and granted, this could shift if you were to throw Yaxel Lendeborg into that mix, and Karchenkov's a great player too and a really good defender. But if you're looking at the 1 and the 2 spot, and you've got Jaden Bradley, Big 12 Player of the Year, Braden Burry's lottery pick, going up against Namari Burnett, who's had a great season and is a great role player for Michigan, and Elliot Cadeau, who's had a really good year as well, you'd probably say advantage goes to Arizona. So I'm curious to see if Michigan's guards can rise to the occasion.
It seems like out of those two teams, Michigan has had the easier path here to this Final Four. Is that going to be an issue for them as they, kind of face their toughest test here in Arizona?
No, I think they're battle tested. The Big Ten is such a gauntlet, and just in seeing who they played, in the non-conference, and they played Duke in the regular season, and we're right there with them. I know they didn't win, but I just think that at this point, you come through a conference like the Big Ten, the Big 12, certainly those leagues, the SEC this year, you're seeing a gauntlet of good teams, and I think Michigan is as battle-tested and prepared as anybody.
Robbie Hummel hanging out with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So we'll continue to break down the actual games, but the one thing that we keep talking about this week with Arizona and Michigan is North Carolina's lurking, and they need a head coach. What do you think about the two head coaches that are in that matchup with Michigan and Arizona? And then do you think one of those two will be ending up in Chapel Hill with the Tar Heels?
I think that depends a lot on just personal preference. What's your relationship with your AD? What's your relationship with your president? How do you feel your NIL compares? I think 15 years ago you'd say, man, you've got to take the Carolina job because it's a top 5 job in college basketball. But with the current landscape, I don't know what North Carolina's NIL situation is. I do know that Michael Jordan's an alum and one of the richest people in the country, so I have to imagine that it and has a vested interest in the program, so I have to imagine that their NIL could be really good if you get him involved, and I don't know how involved he is, but do you like living in Tucson? Do you like living in Ann Arbor? I have to, that's on those guys, and whether you're happy with your situation NIL-wise, and Michigan did as well in the portal as anybody, and with Arizona they kept guys and then have an elite freshman recruiting class of guys that were ready to play. I think it's a lot of what is your personal preference and how do you feel your own situation is.
Who do you think North Carolina should go after? You can
honestly, I think Billy Donovan.
Okay,
I was going to ask. You mentioned Jordan. I was going to say, what about a guy coming back to college basketball?
He's a Hall of Famer. He's won at the college level, and I live in Chicago, so I understand the Bulls are in a constant state of mediocrity right now. And I would just think for his competitive juices, if he was going to take a college job, North Carolina makes a lot of sense. I have no idea if they've reached out to him. I have no idea if he's interested. But that would be my first call. I would go there. And you couldn't go wrong with Tommy Lloyd or Dusty May. But I'm sure with Carolina, they're going to swing for the fences as they should.
Is it just that job for Billy Donovan, or if Arizona's open or Michigan's open as a result of this, do you think he should go for one of those jobs, or is it just the North Carolina job?
It would be the Blue Bloods that he would, because the NBA, you don't have to recruit, like you're just coaching. But at the same time, if your roster's not great, then you're kind of just stuck with what you got. It's not the school system where you're developing talent. Your GM picks these players and you coach them. So I would assume he would not just jump for any job, but Arizona and Michigan they're not blue bloods, but they're pretty high level jobs with a lot of money. So I don't know. That's a good question, but I would think that he'd probably be pretty selective about where he's going.
Yeah, you're talking to two Chicago guys as well. We live in the city still, and that's where we broadcast the show from every single day. And it's a topic we've covered because, like you, we've seen what has taken place with the Chicago Bulls, and I don't think people nationally understand that they're not actively trying to win.
And I think he's done a good job.
Yeah,
when I've done Bulls games, I think they play hard. I think
Exactly.
they have a plan. I just think their personnel compared to the rest of the NBA a lot of times, you're like, well, they're not better.
Yeah, Robbie Hummel hanging out with Bleck Abdalla for a couple more minutes right here on Westwood One Sports. When we look at the other matchup, UConn and Illinois, what's the next factor that you're looking at in that matchup?
Yeah, I think, interestingly, Illinois has improved so much defensively from, the February games where they're giving up games in the 90s. Granted, they're in overtime, but 90, I think they might have had a game where it was almost to 100. The UCLA game was really, really high scoring, and they gave up a bunch of points in the second half in overtime. And then to see them in Houston, I was doing the games there, and granted, Houston and Iowa are not the most explosive offensive teams, but they were overwhelming them with their size, physicality, and just really on the same page. I thought defensively much improved. That will be tested against Connecticut because Danny Hurley is running as good an offense as anything you're going to see. It's the off-ball action, it's the slipping, it's the cutting. We'll see how much Illinois has really improved, and I'm looking forward to it. I think for Connecticut, it's the glass. It's the three-point line, of course. Illinois is going to get them up from three, but you've got to rebound with Illinois. They are an elite offensive rebounding team. I think a matchup that I'm really intrigued by is Mirkovic and Karaban, because Mirkovic can take you inside. Karaban is an elite cutter. He's a great shooter. He's a great winner in this sport. And, Mirkovic is a Euro freshman, so it's a little bit different, but he's still, he's a 19-year-old kid. So I think that is who can flip the matchup. Is it Mirkovic inside? Is it Karaban outside? That's one that really intrigues me.
Are we discounting the winner of that game against the winner of the second matchup between Arizona and Michigan?
I think a lot of people are, but who would bet against Danny Hurley? And Illinois is playing as well as anybody right now in this tournament. So I wouldn't, but I think the narrative is probably that Arizona Michigan's your national champion.
Robbie Hummel hanging out with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Put into perspective, if UConn wins the title here, and that's 3 and 4 years, what is that historically in the grand scheme of college basketball, greats and great teams and runs?
I mean, it would be, to me, they are a blue blood. I think I look at them in the current era, they're a blue blood. There's no question about that. And, you've seen some teams kind of like Indiana, I don't consider a blue blood with the way that their program has been. You look at the totality of it, okay, you could make the case, but UCLA, I don't think that they're a blue blood in the terms of the current state of the game. Now, you go back to the 70s and what they were able to accomplish with John Wooden, all right, you definitely make the case there. But in like this era, UConn's been as good as anybody. And if you win 3 titles in 4 years, and with how competitive the landscape is, and with NIL and the portal, and Danny Hurley can really, really coach. They run great stuff, and they are so disciplined in what they do. And there's some extracurriculars that come with him, and we saw that in the end of the Duke game. But he wins, man. He wins games, and he gets those guys to play hard and to believe, and it's impressive to watch in terms of him building a culture. So they'd be up there with anybody. They would.
You obviously think guys like Danny Hurley are good for college basketball because, you
Honestly,
mentioned
yes,
the
because
outspokenness
I think
and stuff?
You need villains, and he is more than willing. He is happy to play the part. And I just think if everybody is boring, it's not intriguing to the common fan. And Danny is not boring. So I think it is good. I think if you ask certain people, they'd say, well, I can't stand him because look at what he does, this, and this. And all right, but we're talking about him. And I think for college basketball now, in this kind of age, and I think about what college hoops was when I was coming up, and whether it's in college or even like as a kid, it was so big. And college football has become massive, and the NFL has become massive. So I want anything that gets people talking about college hoops, and Danny Hurley does that.
Robbie, what do you have coming up this weekend?
I'm calling the game with Kevin Kugler and PJ Carlissimo and Andy Katz on the sidelines. So we'll try to keep him in line.
Awesome.
Good luck to that. But we'll be calling the game.
Make sure you download the Westwood One app. That's where you can listen to the broadcast. Robbie Hummel, thanks for taking some time here with Bleck Abdalla. Thank you.
Thanks for having
me.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you.
to talk to you. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We're going to keep it here because we go from Robbie Hummel. PJ Carlissimo is going to sit down in just a moment as well. He will be on the broadcast with Robbie as well, right here on Westwood One Sports. It's Bleck Abdalla talking Final Four in Indy as we preview the games, as PJ is about to sit down here on the set. And you can listen to the broadcast of Westwood One's NCAA Final Four right here on Westwood One Sports. And make sure you download the Westwood One Sports app. It's Bleck Abdalla now talking with PJ Carlissimo. Hey, PJ, thanks for joining us last week. Good to see you.
It's good to be with you in person for a change.
Yeah, nice to see you. When we look at the game, we just talked to Robbie, and you guys will be on the broadcast together. When you look at these games, what's the number one storyline that intrigues you looking at these 4 teams heading into Saturday?
There's 2. The one is the rebounding, and I've been telling everybody, ESPN is kind enough to let me go for 4 weeks to do the tournament. Essentially, I do 45 NBA games and just the 3 weeks of the tournament, and I get to do the Big East tournament. It used to be the Pac-12. When I walk into a college practice or shoot-around, the first thing that always jumps out at me, because I do all the NBA teams, is how much smaller the teams are. I got news for you. I've done all 4 Arizona games. We were in San Jose with Kevin Kugler, and then, with Ryan Radke, and with Kevin in San Diego. When I look at Arizona and I look at Michigan, and now Illinois yesterday for the first time seeing them in person, it doesn't look that way. And it's not an accident, because these guys are going to be in the NBA. There's like 6 or 8 guys on these teams. They're going to be in the NBA next year. These teams are enormous. The way they rebound, statistically it's true. Arizona and Michigan and Illinois are three of the best rebounding teams in the country. So I'm really taken aback with all of a sudden we got big, strong fours. And it's not just the length necessarily. It's the length and the size. These guys are incredibly physical. Not that UConn can't match up with them, but three of these teams are like enormous teams. That's different. The other thing is UConn.
Okay.
It's the third Final Four in 4 years. People have no idea. When you do that, Mike K did that for years.
Yeah.
When you make it look that easy, people say, okay, that's Mike K. Oh, that's Connecticut and Danny Hurley. It is absolutely impossible to do what Danny Hurley's been doing in his career. It's incredible.
PJ, I want to follow up on the size of the teams that are here for the Final Four and the way that they play. I feel like just basketball overall has turned into an outside-in situation where it's the guards, it's the three-point shots, it's Steph Curry leading every basketball player alive into believing that they could all shoot from 45 feet out. Is it refreshing to see teams that the bigs matter, and it kind of feels a little throwback to what we've seen in the last 5-10 years of both college and NBA basketball?
Chris, you and Adam watch all the time. I guess I like it more because it's more throwback to me. It reminds me more of the Big East. We always had two. We had our Final Four team. We had four bigs. I mean, we started Darrell Walker and Ramon Ramos, and we had Anthony Avent and Franz Volsi coming off the bench. We had four capable big guys. Tommy Lloyd's bringing Tobe Awaka off the bench. Right. Tobe started 36 games for him last year. He's one of the best rebounders in the country, overall and offensive rebounds. I love it. I love that. I also love that a lot of the threes now come off the offensive rebounds. They kick it out, or they throw it down to a post up, and when the guys get double teamed, they kick it out. So I like that better than just necessarily the up and down firing it. Having said that, it's just a different way to go about it. But it's kind of intriguing that three of the teams that are here, and they shoot, Michigan and Illinois will shoot some threes for sure. But, I mean, essentially, we don't have teams that live and die by the three. We got teams that live and die by how they play in the half court. I do. The one thing that really catches me about the Arizona-Michigan matchup, other than the fact that the two of them, along with Duke, were number one in the country like every week in the polls. I mean, and one dominant. If you can dominate a 27-team league, however how many teams there are in the Big 12 and the Big 10, but Arizona wins the regular season and the tournament in the Big 12, and Michigan won the regular season. They didn't win the tournament. But, I mean, you're talking the two best teams in the Big 10 and the Big 12. They're incredible, but they're big, strong, physical teams. They are so much better defensively than either of them get credit for. Everybody talks about the offense and the rebounding stuff. They're both elite defensive teams. They're top 10 field goal percentage, top 10 defensive field goal percentage. You don't get second shots against either team. They don't turn the ball over. They're really good basketball teams that play both ends of the floor. So the reason they're here is clear cut. So that's a little different. Not saying that teams the last couple of years didn't rebound or didn't defend. But to me, these are more complete basketball teams, maybe than we've seen a little bit recently.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Illinois because they're the most efficient offense in college basketball. You said they don't live and die by the three. What makes them that efficient if they're not putting up all those threes?
The combination. They pass the ball really well, incredibly low turnovers. You talk about the efficiency. They don't turn the ball over. They get a good shot every time down the floor. They're not in love with the fast break. When you turn it over against them, they'll run. If they get a quick outlet pass, they'll run. But they're really not married to running up and down the floor. They pass the ball well. They're very efficient in the half court. They have big, strong guys who can finish inside. And the other thing that the three of them have, and I put Connecticut in the same category, they can beat you on the dribble. There's more dribble penetration. There's more guys who are skilled on the wings. It kills me to watch Andre Stojakovic because it's Peja's son, so he's got to be a 35, 40-foot laser shooter. He's not. No. He's a basketball player. He rebounds, he puts it on the floor, he passes the ball. Not that Peja wasn't. I can't wait to see Peja tomorrow. They say, like, he wants to stay in the background and let it be his son's thing. But I want to go over and, give him a hug. I haven't seen him. He probably scored 2,000 points against my NBA teams, but there's more basketball players. There's more guys that can beat you on the dribble and beat you with the pass. So I love that. We have some longer possessions. We have some really good offense. Danny Hurley's offense is incredible, the way he moves the pieces around on the floor. And you're going to see that with Illinois. You're going to see it with Michigan and Arizona. As big and strong as they are, they're playing basketball in the half court. And to me, that's a beautiful thing.
PJ Carlissimo hanging out with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Last week on the show, you told us about what you thought with how great Rick Pitino is as a college basketball coach. Dan Hurley is stepping his way towards a category that very few head coaches have ever gotten to. If he can get a third national title, there's only a couple names above him in college basketball history.
Yeah,
right.
I think it's what? It's absurd. Yeah.
There's two other that have three, or three other that have three championships, and then John Wooden
has
and Coach
a couple
K.
dozen or whatever he has. Who knows?
Put into perspective what Dan Hurley's done at Connecticut.
You can't. It's incredible. And the point that I think sometimes people forget about Danny, first of all, he doesn't get credit for being a good player. He's a 1,000-point scorer, played on 3 NCAA teams at Seton Hall. He was a very, very good college player. Everybody goes, well, Bobby was player of the year in college basketball and won national championships. We didn't win national championships at Duke, but Danny was a very, very good college player. Just that in that family, the standards are a little bit different from a coaching or a playing standpoint. Yeah. But he did a great job when he was assistant at Rutgers. He did an incredible job when he was a high school coach at St. Benedict's Prep. He paid his dues. I'm going to make up a number. 12 or 14 years, Danny was an assistant and a high school coach. Then he does really well at Wagner, which ironically was where I started my Division I career. I was at Wagner for 6 years. Danny did a really good job at Wagner. He did a really good job at URI before he got the Connecticut job. Then he directly replaces Kevin Ollie, but there's a place where they win national championships. And but everybody forgets, all the Connecticut national championships are since '99.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
They're relatively recent.
It's the last 30 years.
So he comes in, and how do you follow Jim Calhoun and Kevin Ollie's one national championship? Well, you follow it by going to 3 Final Fours in 4 years and winning a couple national championships. Absolutely unheard of, and different teams. Very different teams. His first national championship team, Westwood, luckily for me, I was in Albany, then Las Vegas, then Houston with Danny, just the way it worked out that year. They played the best basketball they played all year in those 3 weeks. That's why they won the NCAA tournament. The following year, they were the best team in the country, and they just bludgeoned people the whole time. This is a totally different team other than AK. The first question I asked Danny yesterday at our watching a close practice in a preview, I go, who's been at UConn longer, you or Alex Caravan? It seems like AK's been there for like 10 years. But other than AK, it's a very different team. It's amazing what he's done. The cast has changed. It doesn't matter. He's got a great staff. He lost Luke Murray this week, or Luke's still working for him, but is going to be at BC. Kamani Young, Tom Moore, those guys have been together for so long. That staff is exceptional. If you go to a UConn practice and you watch how they practice and the way, every detail, they're so meticulous. He truly is an excellent coach, a way above average coach, and his teams reflect that.
Well, and he's a great coach too, but the antics on the court with the as a coach, that obviously
you
takes
mean rubbing your forehead against a referee's forehead?
That stuff. But that also takes some of the pressure off of your team, because the focus is on you at that point and not on your team and some of those losses and everything that goes on, right?
I think somehow Danny is a little bit more in control than people sometimes appreciate him. But you also have to realize his father, Hall of Famer, arguably the best high school coach of all time, Bob Hurley Sr., was not sitting with his seatbelt strapped on the bench either. And he played for a knucklehead in college, Danny. So he was exposed to some antics on the sideline that are in his DNA. So there's got to be a little bit of that from Danny Hurley.
PJ, thank you for staying a little later to join us. We really appreciate it. Have a great broadcast tomorrow. We'll be listening. And everyone, make sure you download the Westwood One app, the Westwood One Sports app.
Chris and Adam, great being with you guys.
Thank you so much.
I can't thank Westwood enough for letting me do this every year. It's the best.
Absolutely. PJ Carlissimo, he's fantastic. Coming up next on Bleck Abdalla, we were out at dinner last night, and we saw something I've never seen before from a waiter. We'll talk about that coming up next.
The Final Four is here. Our exclusive coverage starts tomorrow at 4 Eastern, followed by Illinois UConn at 6 and Michigan Arizona at 9. Listen to all of it on the Westwood One app from your official home of the NCAA tournament. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from the Final Four Radio Row in Indianapolis, Westwood One presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Shout out to Robbie Hummel and PJ Carlissimo hanging out with us here on the show to start the show. As the Final Four is tomorrow, make sure you download the Westwood One Sports app to listen to the Final Four live from Indy, Michigan, Arizona, Illinois, and UConn. Excited for the games. Can't wait to watch the games tomorrow, to listen to the games, to see the games, and the city is hopping. Here on a Friday, Final Four weekend, Indianapolis is slammed already. And we said this 20 minutes ago that you can tell that it's definitely ramping up today into tomorrow afternoon when the party atmosphere of the Final Four host city kind of really kicks in.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of Illinois fans, like we talked about, because of the proximity.
Yeah,
a lot of
orange.
Michigan fans because a lot of maize and gold because of the proximity. Maize and gold are the same color. Maize and blue.
Yeah,
from
the maize
maize
is
and
the
gold.
gold.
Maize
Yep.
is the gold. Maize and blue because of the proximity. And then like we said, UConn and Arizona, TSA. It's going to take them a little longer to get here, but they will eventually get here.
The
they will
reports
eventually.
that we got from our friends from around the country that have met us here in Indy, who work for Westwood One Sports, at TSA was okay.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
no
see.
issues.
We'll see. I think Illinois and Michigan fans are going to hold them up a little bit.
I mean, our boss, Armin Williams, came from Houston, which the last couple weeks, if you've been paying attention to the news, the TSA situation in Houston at their airport's been the worst.
Yeah.
He said it was no issue.
Okay, well, we'll see.
I got to mention this as we talk Final Four with you. If you want to join the show today, you can call or text us at 310-840-4910. Last night we went to dinner. It was me, Abdalla. It was Ryan McGuire, who is a VP Affiliate Sales person here at Westwood One Sports. Adam Schifrin, VP of Sales as well at Westwood One Sports. Armin Williams was there, our boss, program director here on Westwood One Sports. And Josh Graham was with us.
Shout out.
Who's here working his absolute butt off.
Not sleeping.
He's over at practice right now. The open practices for the teams taking place over at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah.
Josh will also be on the air tonight from 11 p to 3 a on Westwood One Sports, Westwood One Sports Night. So he's got you covered tonight. He will be broadcasting live throughout the weekend as well, covering the games tomorrow on Saturday, and then also the championship game. Josh will be at the championship game, covering the game for us as well, right here on Westwood One Sports. So we had a good dinner last night.
Great dinner.
Great dinner. We got together. We went to get. You got to eat food, right?
You have to eat.
You got to go to dinner.
Eat food.
We saw a performance last night that was legendary.
Dinner was the show.
We were not at a place where it was like, they're cooking on the table.
This was not a Benihana.
No. What would you say? It's just a steakhouse.
It's a steak place.
An American steakhouse.
Yeah.
But Isaac was his name.
Yeah.
Right? That's the name of the server?
That was the name of our server.
The waiter?
Yeah.
The performance that Isaac put on, I'm telling you, this is Jordan. This is Jordan
in his prime.
It was Jordan with
This was Game 6.
96 Jordan, where he is back and the team is going 72-10.
Yeah.
This guy was incredible. Every fine detail on the menu he's telling us about, giving the backstory, telling us about there's some sauce where the sauce is influenced based on a part of France and then also a part of Spain, and they married together. The whole thing, right?
Who was it? It was Adam that wanted his steak cooked a certain way.
Yeah, I think it was like medium rare plus.
And he was like, "Don't do that. Get it like Pittsburgh style."
Yes,
which is like a certain sear. And when Adam got his steak, he was like, "This is one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life."
But it wasn't just get it Pittsburgh style. It was then a 3-minute rationale to why you should get it.
And I didn't even know that was a style. I didn't know a steak had a state had a way that you could cook a steak.
Well, it's a city.
Or whatever, you know what I mean.
But so yes, he was on point. Now here's what is the item that we've never seen before. So we got there. Here's the scenario, right? Josh Graham is working his butt off. He hosted on Wednesday night the show until 3 a.m. And then he caught a flight to then come to Indianapolis, and he stayed up for 28 straight hours because he got here to Radio Row. He joined our stupid show here on Westwood One Sports, a Bleck Abdalla show. He jumped on with us. He's then recording interviews here in the Radio Row conference room. So Josh was up for 28 straight hours working. And he had the show last night at 11 p.m. Eastern time. And so he needed to sleep at some point. And we're all telling him, leave the convention center, go take a nap, go sleep.
Go to bed, man.
You know, he's wired. You know, he saw John Shire walk through here, and that was like a hit. Like
that was three shots of espresso for him, man.
Like
that dude.
And you should check out the Shire interview. It's fantastic.
Yes.
Go to the YouTube page for Josh and Linnell, Westwood One Sports Night. It's fantastic. It's a great interview. And so he's working his butt off, and we're all telling him, like, dude, there's no more work to be done. Go sleep.
Yeah.
You know, so we all go our separate ways, and we know that dinner is at 7:30. And we assumed that Josh would be a little late because he's supposed to be napping. Again, show last night at 11 p, and he was up for 28 straight hours.
Yeah.
So he goes back, takes a nap. We get to the restaurant, the five of us. We sit down. We tell Isaac, the greatest waiter in the history of the world, that we have a sixth. He will be joining us in a little bit. So, and Josh wasn't that late. He was about, 30 minutes late?
Yeah, and this was a relaxed
But it was
dinner.
planned.
Like
It was planned.
we hadn't ordered anything.
Yeah, we were sitting. We were
drinking.
We were talking. We're talking ball.
Talking ball.
Talking ball. Final four. We were getting ready.
Yeah.
And then Josh shows up, and he sits down, and Isaac makes a beeline for Josh with a handshake.
I mean, that handshake, the
With a
sound
handshake.
of that dap, it shook the world.
With a handshake, and I'm at the other end of the table, and I think to myself, and I look at Schiffer, and I go, do they know each other?
I thought the same thing.
And
Are
then,
they-
like,
are
and
they
Josh accepted it. Like,
was Josh here earlier?
Josh didn't miss a beat. Like, Josh played into it, and he was like, good to see you. Handshake. And he sits down, and Isaac, because we told him that Josh had a show, or he had work to do later in the night,
Yeah.
that Isaac goes, what do you want to eat? And Josh orders, and then he looks at us, he goes, what did you guys get? We go, we haven't
We haven't
ordered
done
yet."
anything yet. We just got here, man.
And Isaac walks away, and we're like, what is going on?
We need to, Isaac, come back. We need to order food.
It was so impressive.
We've been waiting.
It was incredible.
It was as if Josh had eaten lunch there earlier.
Yeah,
and I talked to Isaac.
Yeah, there was a special bond. It was one of those things where in a past life, I think Isaac and Josh were like best friends somewhere.
I think so. And they just knew.
And they just clicked.
Yeah.
From the jump. And so the rest of the dinner was fantastic. It was a great evening.
Great dessert with another presentation.
Yeah,
I ate a flower.
There was
There was an edible flower.
pardon the expression.
Easy.
Easy? You easy.
Easy. Was it not an edible flower?
It was.
Did you eat some of the flour?
I had some flour.
It was tasty, wasn't it?
Yeah. It tasted
right.
like
It was fruity.
yeah.
It was like apricotish.
Yes, but like the tough part of an apricot. It wasn't like it wasn't like
It was
like the outside.
it was like a dried apricot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we ate the flour.
Easy.
What do you don't easy me on that.
You said it to me.
So dinner was great.
Yes.
Isaac's doing his show. He's pouring stuff. He's telling us every fine detail. Meanwhile, he's not ignoring his other tables.
No.
Like this
He
guy
does
is this guy's on top of it.
This is
He's
his
moving.
thing, man.
So Schifrin asks to speak with the chef.
Okay, but before you say that, it has been told to us numerous times
From Isaac.
chef would
Chef.
like chef
Chef
recommends
this,
this,
chef
chef
that,
recommends that.
chef
It's like
this.
we were
Yes,
at
chef.
the Bear. It's
Yeah.
like we were at the restaurant from the Bear. And
Yes, chef.
it got to the point where I didn't believe that Chef existed. It got to the point where either Chef is maniacal like the Bear,
Oh, yeah.
or Chef is this mythical creature like Oz and doesn't exist. And so at a certain point, it is offered that,
Well,
Chef is maybe making a round or two or something like that.
yeah, and Schifrin jumped on that. He goes,
Schifrin goes,
can you bring him over?
Can we talk to? We've had such a great experience
Can
tonight.
you bring him over?
Could we say how great of experience this was? His steak was the best steak he's ever
It
eaten in
was.
his
It
life.
was. It was.
In
And
his
I
life.
saw it. He was enjoying his steak.
Yeah,
He
and goes,
absolutely was.
Can we give our compliments to Chef?
To Chef.
To Chef.
So Isaac disappears to go get Chef.
Yeah.
And then a little gentleman walks out and goes, I'm so sorry. Chef is shy. And
Shy Chef?
Chef doesn't want to come speak to you guys.
Shy Chef.
And I mean, at that point, I don't think Chef is real.
I don't think he is either.
I think Chef is just a.
This dude's the
they
Wizard of
say-
Oz.
They say Chef exists, but he's not really there. and it's just a group of cooks that are back there crushing it because the food was great.
Yeah.
So I don't think Chef. So they had a guy come out to say that Chef is shy.
He was the sommelier, as he said. As he said.
And then he
was shy too.
And then he faded away.
Yeah, he
It
just
was
disappeared.
weird. It was strange.
He might as well have smoke bombed and just disappeared into the night.
With that said, Isaac came back over, apologized that Chef was, quote, shy.
Yeah.
And
he's like, I tried, guys.
And then he was great.
Yeah.
So that's the story. I've never seen a waiter greet someone late to the table with a full hearty handshake.
No.
And
no.
Just the way he embraced Josh the moment Josh sat down was I've never seen something.
Because there's the stereotypical dad joke of when a waiter comes and is like, "Hey, I'm Isaac," and the dad goes "Yeah, I'm Adam. That's Chris." Introduces the whole table.
Yes.
It wasn't like that.
No.
These guys were besties. They had known each other. They were long lost friends in town, and this at the Final Four, and this is the only place they see each other.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, sponsored by Warner, the official ladder of NCAA March Madness and the official ladder of construction professionals everywhere. Conquer new heights with Warner, available nationally at the Home Depot. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. The Lakers lost last night, and Luka hurt his hamstring. Could this be a big problem for the Lakers moving forward? We'll talk about that next.
The Final Four is here. Our exclusive coverage starts Saturday at 4 Eastern, followed by Illinois UConn at 6 and Michigan Arizona at 9. Listen to all of it on the Westwood One app from your official home of the NCAA tournament. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from the Final Four Radio Row in Indianapolis, Westwood One presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Last night was a bad night for the Los Angeles Lakers. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, previewing the Final Four as well as we hang out live from Radio Row. You know, Luka gets hurt in the third quarter. The Lakers were down by 30 in the first half. It was the Lakers in their history, their illustrious history as a franchise, they've only had 6 worse losses than what they faced last night, with the Thunder beating the absolute crap out of the Los Angeles Lakers, 139-96. But the major concern, not necessarily playing that game poorly, but it's Luka looked slow throughout the third quarter. Obviously, defensively, not really giving the effort that he should. Not that he really gives a great effort usually on the defensive side, but it felt like the injury was coming.
Yeah.
And he stayed out there, and he pulls the left hamstring. He has an MRI set for today. We will find out at some point the severity of this injury. But if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you had a player for the last month who has been playing like an MVP, who has been fantastic. And then also, you're entering the playoffs in a week and a half. I mean, next weekend's the final weekend of the regular season in the NBA. So if you have a long-term hamstring injury, whatever the grade may be, like, he's not going to be out for just a week.
No.
I'm guessing Luka will be out for quite some time, and that's going to put the Lakers' chances of getting out of the first round in peril.
Yeah, the problem with this is this was a team that you kind of penciled in to the second round of the playoffs. You know, you were like, okay, with Luka, the way Luka's been playing, how we were talking about, could this be a guy, especially in yesterday's game, who you wanted to see put on some form of a show against the Thunder? You know, can this be a guy that, you know, maybe unseat or put some question into the MVP consideration? He needed to play a certain amount of games. He was like one game away from playing the threshold amount of games to be considered for MVP. So, or to be for any NBA postseason award, for any NBA awards. So, I think now you do have to put it into question based on the grade of injury that this becomes. He's obviously more than likely going to win or miss the rest of the regular season, and now it's going to be how much of the playoffs does he miss? If he misses the entire first round, do the Lakers have enough to get out of the first round? And if they do, how much of the second round is he going to miss based on what grade of a hamstring injury this is? Because you're right, he did look slow. It looked like he was getting some form of work done on this before the injury, and this was like it wasn't contact, but he pulled up.
Yeah,
it was bad.
It was one of those where people always say when you when it goes, they feel like someone shot them in the back of the leg.
Yeah.
Because you could see the
Yep.
jolt where he was like, it got him.
Yeah.
I did that last year. I was running in the dog park with Gus the Golden Doodle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm 40. I'm not.
You're not Luca?
Well, I'm not a professional athlete.
Yeah.
I'm also not necessarily in shape like I used to be.
Yeah.
And we're running, and all of a sudden I was like, sniper took me out.
And how long did it take you to come back into basketball shape?
I'm still not in basketball.
Oh, okay. So a
I'm
year.
not comparing my.
So
I'm not
Luca will be
comparing my
out
injury.
for. So
No,
Luca's going to be out for at least a year.
I'm not
is what
doing
we're
that.
saying.
I'm
Okay.
not doing the lame sports talk radio host thing where I'm comparing my injury. I'm just saying, like, we were the only ones in the field, and like I went down like a sack of rocks. Like I
Did
thought,
Gus help you? Did he come to your aid?
No, he like jumped around me and he was like pouncing and barking at me because he thought I was playing.
He didn't go get help?
No, he thought I was like. He thought no.
He didn't go tell somebody that there was someone fell in the well?
He's not Lassie.
Gus, what are you trying to say?
Great dog. No,
Chris,
I don't think
Chris
he would be
pulled
able
his
to do that.
hamstring?
No.
Where? In the park?
He would trot back home and just be like, "Where are the treats?" Like Dad's dead. Who cares? Someone else can take me out now. That's what he would think.
I would love that. He tries to tell someone that you pulled a hamstring in the park and need help walking home.
So that's what I did. Is like I had to shimmy home because
Yeah.
I couldn't take full steps.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a sad walk.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you're sad like that.
Well, don't.
I'm
try.
not comparing
Don't
myself
try.
to
I
Luka.
know.
I'm just saying, like they reminded, like when it happens, like you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, too, for the Lakers, with LeBron obviously hasn't been playing he's been playing decent. He's been playing well. But this team has been centered around the way Luka has been playing the last month and putting up the points that he has in the last month. And the team has been playing better defense. Luka does not play defense. We know that.
No, but you could see in the possessions last night in the third quarter, he wasn't even taking like an attempted step towards defenders.
No, but the team as a whole has been playing better defense in the last couple weeks. So where are they going to get the scoring from? He's putting up 40, 35, 40 a night. Where are they going to get this score? Where is this going to come from? Are they going to be able to get out of the first round? That's going to be the question moving forward.
Pollen season is here, but a dirty car doesn't have to be. Wash it away with Tidal Wave Auto Spa for a quick wash and that clean car happy feeling. Find a location at TidalWaveAutoSpa.com. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. Abdalla, we have this text here from the 408, which is San Jose area. Here's the text. We just told a story about a great waiter experience at a restaurant last night. Yeah. Isaac, the waiter, was incredible. Here's the text from the 408. Imagine being amazed by a server doing their actual job.
No.
That's not what this is about.
No, my friend.
You're missing the point from the
friend.
408. This guy was the greatest we've ever seen.
No. I've seen players play basketball, and then I saw Game 6 Jordan last night. I saw Flu Game Jordan last night. I saw the greatest of all time
It's
last
the greatest
night.
performance we've ever seen.
I saw a jersey
someone at a
go
restaurant.
into the rafters last night. I saw a number retired. I saw Ring of Honor stuff last night, man. I don't think you understand the greatness that we talked to Joey Chestnut yesterday.
Yeah, one of the greats.
An American hero was sitting less than 2 feet away from me yesterday. And I saw two American heroes yesterday.
Isaac the waiter.
I witnessed greatness twice yesterday, Mr. 408.
Imagine being impressed by a waiter doing their job. That's not what this is. That's not what happened last night.
With all due respect, you were not there. You didn't see what I saw. I saw someone put up 100 points. There was no film. You just have to go off of us saying
we're holding up a little piece of paper like we're Wilt Chamberlain, greatest waiter ever.
Greatest waiter ever. No one was there to film it. You just have to take our word for it. That we were
somehow
there
the picture's in black and white too.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
Just between us here, everyone listening to the show,
yeah.
and just between us, if you can watch us on YouTube, Bleck and Abdalla, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show.
Mm-hmm.
Are they aware? Are they aware that they're almost in our picture?
They're not right.
There's
yet.
a group of people that are standing right next to our table, and they are like almost in the shot.
I was trying to talk a little louder to see if they would notice that we were on the air.
They're just having a little chat soup next to us.
It's because our camera's so weak.
Yeah, that's the thing. At some point today, that camera's going down.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're watching on the stream, you might be able to watch and see when the camera gets knocked over by a NCAA head coach at some point.
Yeah, which one will it be?
we should take guesses.
Take guesses. Will it be?
I don't think they know that they're in the shot.
I don't think
almost.
they. Well, they're not
they're
yet.
like
they're almost. You can see the shadow, kind of.
You almost got
next to
the
me.
backside on there, and it's like I don't know if she knows that she's like almost stepping into the shot. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. We are looking forward to talk to Steve Lutz, the head coach at Oklahoma State, coming up next here live from Radio Row.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from the Final Four Radio Row in Indianapolis, Westwood One presents Bleck and Abdalla.
That's right, live from the Final Four, hanging out with you here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck, along with Adam Abdalla, on the air until 3 Eastern. The caller text line, 310-840-4910. Here on Bleck and Abdalla, hanging out with you live from Indy, the Final Four. I just walked through the convention center during the commercial break. One of my favorite aspects of being able to cover the Final Four and to experience this is what people don't get to see is that the convention center is crawling with all types of team personnel from around the country. Assistants, training staff, everyone that would support a college basketball team. And essentially what this is behind the scenes is like a meat market. You see individuals swapping contacts, and you see the assistants saying like, hey, my guy's out maybe at the end of next year. Where could I land next season? You know, you see a lot of positioning for the future. With all of the assistants, the unnamed assistants behind the scenes here in the convention center. But you know what's going on because you hear the conversation. Near the bathroom, around the hall, and then you see all the different logos on the shirts, and then the hello, how are you?
Are they bumping phones, or are they exchanging business cards? What are we doing?
I saw a card be handed.
Okay,
handed
all
out.
right. Okay.
For those watching on YouTube,
they just figured out that they were in the shot.
They just figured out that they were on the shot.
That's okay.
It's fun. It's good.
That's okay. Let me see if I can watch it happen in real time. Yeah, I just watched it happen in real time. That's awesome.
So make sure you like and subscribe to Bleck and Abdalla's show on YouTube. We have the live stream up. Expected to talk to Steve Lutz, head coach at Oklahoma State, coming up here shortly here on Bleck and Abdalla. In the Big 12, the Cowboys face off against Arizona. And Arizona, the best team out of the Big 12 this season. They get here to the Final Four. And I think when we look at the four teams that have gotten to this place, you know, obviously there is a lot to look at with UConn and Illinois for the first matchup tomorrow. And make sure you download the Westwood One Sports app to listen to our coverage of the Final Four. But also, you know, that's a game that's on, and it kind of feels like that's the appetizer for the main event Saturday night between Arizona and Michigan.
I don't understand. I understand why. I understand why.
It's what every person we've talked to here in Indy has said.
I understand why. But you have Illinois is the most efficient team in college basketball offensively. And the second halves of their games have been outstanding. They've put up some of the most points in college basketball in this tournament in the second halves. Their defense is relentless. They're great. UConn has Dan Hurley. Like, how is this? Like, how are we? I understand Michigan and Arizona, 2-1 seeds. That's great. But like the first game, you get to watch the most efficient team in college basketball and also Dan Hurley. Like, we should not be discounting this game at all. Because it's still, to me, it's just as good because you get one of the most dynamic characters in college basketball in Hurley, and you get to watch. I don't think a team that I think we're discounting that team too much in Illinois because the way they've been able to come on here since the the conference tournament, this NCAA tournament. They've had a great run so far. The last couple weeks here in the tournament being the best offense so far that we've seen. I know Michigan's put up a ton of points in the tournament, but they've had such a cakewalk, I think, through this tournament that going up against Arizona, I'm not saying it's going to be easy for them, but this is going to be their toughest matchup going in. Arizona has had to come back in some of these games. They've had to come back against Purdue. Like, this is going to be a tough matchup for Arizona. It's going to be a tough matchup for Michigan. I think Illinois-UConn is going to be a great game. I think we're just saying, yeah, it's going to be fine. They're walking into a gauntlet here. But I think Illinois-UConn is going to be underrated. Yeah, you go ahead. I'll just talk. Chris is going away to try to get Steve Lutz here, the head coach of Oklahoma State. We're looking forward to talking to him here as it's Bleck Abdalla live from the Final Four here in Indianapolis. You all right?
No, there's some crossing of swords.
Yeah, that's okay.
We're making sure that we're getting the right situation
set up.
It's all
good. It's all good.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Steve Lutz, head coach at Oklahoma State, joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Coach, thanks for making some time for us.
Sure, no problem, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look ahead at the games today or tomorrow in the Final Four, being in the Big 12, can you help us put into perspective what Arizona was able to do this season and then to get to this point in the Final Four and how good they are?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you win arguably the best league in the country and you win it in pretty convincing fashion, I mean, you've got to tip your hat to that team. And you know, the interesting thing about Arizona is they've done it in a different way. I mean, it's almost old school basketball. We're going to throw it inside. We're going to go rebound it. That may be our best offense. We're not going to make a lot of threes. And then we're going to play young kids. So, I mean, it's interesting to watch them because I would think if you were to go to the average age in Michigan and Arizona, there's a substantial difference.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we talk about how many of their players are going to move on to the NBA this year, the way they match up against Michigan. How do you think that matchup and how they're going to face? Because Michigan has had a pretty easier run than Arizona so far into this tournament.
Yeah. So I was talking to somebody earlier today, and they were talking about the differences in the Big Ten teams in the tournament and the Big 12. And, arguably the Big 12 has been the best league all year. And that's not to say that the Big Ten is far behind. Right? But you get into the tournament and now you start saying, okay, what matchup do I have and what matchup allows me to advance? You still got to win the game, but some matchups are more favorable than others. Obviously I came from Purdue years ago, and I can remember being a 4 seed losing to a 9 seed in Indy, and then Paint lost to a 16 seed. So, I mean, the matchups are huge when you get to the tournament.
Steve Lutz, Oklahoma State head coach, joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Overall, when you're looking to put together your team and you're recruiting, in this era of NIL, transfers, we have a team here in the Final Four in Illinois that seems to have unlocked some kind of secret in Europe where they're able to bring players over, and we're seeing that kind of unfold here in the Final Four. Like, when you look at setting up your recruiting strategy, what is – it's got to be difficult to kind of hit all the different aspects that are available now, because not only are you recruiting kids who are 17, 18 years old, you also have to continue to recruit the kids that are already on your roster to stay with you at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I mean, there's no coaching manual for this. I mean, it's just different than – this was my 30th year of coaching, so I had 25 years of being an assistant, and then it's my 5th year as a head coach. It's just totally different than when I started. With that being said, it's not that different because I did start at NAI. Okay, in NAI, you were able to split scholarships up. So just keep it simple. I'm recruiting the both of you, and Adam has better grades, and he has a higher financial need. Well, I'm probably going to recruit him harder because he costs me less scholarship dollars. If it's $20K to go there and he's going to get a half academic scholarship for 10 and he's going to get Pell Grant for 5, we only cost me 5, whereas you may cost me 15.
Right.
So I'm going to take him. Well, it's the same thing in this portal, especially when you start dealing with NIL. You're saying to yourself, okay, can I get this kid and can I get that kid? Well, that kid's $800,000 less. Well, shoot, I'm going to take him because then I might be able to turn it into another player on top of it. So it's the same, but it's different.
It's a lot of more zeros, though.
A lot more zeros, brother.
Well, it's also the trust in your staff and yourself to develop a player perhaps that maybe would in NIL cost less, but then we can get him to be a better player. So let's go that avenue.
Yeah, you know what? And we've done a good job with that. Like 2 years ago, we took Abu Usman from Xavier, and he had made I take that back. He had made 1 3 or 2 threes at Xavier the entire year. He comes to us, and he's the top shooting big man in the country, and he was a heck of a value for us. And then this past year, we took Parsifala from Oregon State. Same thing. Both turned out to be terrific values for us. And so you've got to have a little bit of that money ball, right, to you, and you've got to have a little bit of luck to you. But it would be really cool if I just had, if I just had a lot of money and I could go get anybody and everybody that I wanted. That would be the way to go.
Illinois lost to UConn back in November. They faced them again on Saturday. How much can a team change from late November to all the way now in April?
Well, a lot, I think. I mean, your mark of a good coach is that your team is playing its best basketball in March and April, right? And both of those guys are fantastic coaches. Now, are they going to lose their identity? No, they're going to still be the same brand of basketball. I keep reading all week about Illinois, and they just shoot a bunch of pick and pop threes. Well, UConn obviously spreads it out, and they're physical and tough, and they throw it inside to Terrace Reed. So you're not going to change who you are, but I think that you should have evolved, and you should be better now than you were earlier in the year.
Steve Lutz hanging out with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. When we look at these two matchups, I'm going to ask you one question, but for both games, what's a key that maybe people are not talking about enough with the Illinois-Connecticut game and then also Arizona-Michigan?
Well, I think your biggest key that no one talks about enough is all four teams in both games. What are your kids doing when they get here? Like, how many of them are caught up in the hoopla of the Final Four and their families being around? Because this is one time that the NCAA will actually fly your families in and stuff. And so your families are there ingrained in what you're doing for 4 or 5 days. I think that people just underestimate how difficult that is for 18 to 25-year-olds to be able to navigate all that and keep the main thing the main thing. Because the main thing is to win the national title. So I always think that that's probably an understated issue that you have within your team and your organization.
What's funny is we've mentioned it. We've been here since Wednesday night. And this morning, when they say spring blooms and everything pops, like it feels like outside right now, everything's popping off because all of the fans are arriving. You just walk outside 10 minutes ago, there are people everywhere. Mm-hmm. So you're right, like the distractions and the fact that you're in a host city that's all centrally located here in Indy, everything is right here on top of each other.
Right, yeah. And, I mean, let's just be honest, you're still college kids and you want to see your girlfriend or you know what I mean? Like, all of that stuff matters, and who can navigate it and manage it the best typically stays the most focused and gives themselves an opportunity to win.
Well, and I think that coaches, too, that have been through it, like obviously Dan Hurley has been through it, Dusty May's been through it, and having a coach that has been through it or assistants that have been through it also helps with that, right?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And each one of these guys knows what the heck they're doing. I mean, I think Brad's probably the only one that's never been this far in the tournament. Everybody else, whether an assistant or a head coach, has been here and done it. So they'll be able to navigate it fine, but they're still kids.
Coach, who do you think plays on Monday night?
I am going with Arizona, Illinois.
Arizona, Illinois?
Awesome. I knew Arizona. I didn't know the other one.
It's all good. Big 12.
I have to,
Absolutely.
I mean, you have to stick with it.
Yeah,
and we obviously went to Tucson this year, and we didn't have a good day, so it'll make me feel a little bit better about myself, at least if they win a national title.
There you go.
Coach, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us. We appreciate
anytime. I got one question for you guys, though.
Yeah.
How the heck did we come up with the name for this radio show?
My last name is Bleck.
I know, but how did you get to go to first and he went second? And
You're right, because A does come before B.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it flows off the tongue a little bit better. Abdalla and Bleck, I think.
Keep telling yourself that. Yeah, keep telling yourself that.
Yeah. I think we might have a problem now. I think you just started some friction.
I think so.
I'm sure your listeners have been listening to this show forever.
We're gonna have to talk to Armin now. Yeah. See what you did?
We have a 3-hour drive back to Chicago this afternoon. We're not staying for the full weekend. We're just gonna broadcast until 3 Eastern, and then we're heading back north. So this should be a fun ride. Back up to Chicago.
And you know what?
If you get in the car.
Somewhere in this phone, I've got a really cool picture of Armin that I probably need to show you guys.
Well,
when he was a student
Really?
Oh,
That's
I'm going to look when
fantastic.
we get
All
off.
right.
That
All
we
right.
need.
Steve Lutz hanging out with us. Thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate it. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We're talking college basketball, and we're sponsored by Robinhood. You can expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Learn more and get started today with Robinhood at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. So we have more action here live from the Final Four as we set the scene. We've got the photo from Coach Lutz. Let's see it.
That's awesome. He's painted.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Armin's, what was that, Texas Tech?
Yeah, Texas Tech. That's awesome.
That's great.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Armin Williams, our boss here at Westwood One Sports, our program director, and he knows Coach Lutz from back
So
in the
why
day.
is your name? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, here we go. Let's open this up. Text line, 310-840-4910. Your thoughts. Should Abdalla's name go first?
Oh, there's wait. That's
Would
a
you
list.
like to?
No, because then we got to change everything,
That's
and there's
fine.
too much stuff.
Photoshop. We can
and I
do
mean,
that.
look at the logo. It's just like it's like a pyramid thing, and you know how much I like pyramids. So we'd have to change all that. So I don't want to have to go through all that.
Yes, because there's less letters in my last name.
Yeah, and my
to
last
yours.
name.
So my
and
last
so-
name on the logo
yeah,
fits above yours.
Yeah, and it's a You
I
like
love
that?
it.
You like that pyramid line, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. That was good. I didn't see that one coming. That's fantastic. It's now time for Fries with the Guys, presented by Five Guys. Nervous about your tournament picks? Don't sweat it. Five Guys has consolation fries no matter the outcome. Hand cut and perfectly salted. They're always going to make you feel like a winner. Five Guys, great partners here on the Bleck Abdalla show. And I believe before we head north, we are going to get some consolation fries for our road trip back to Chicago this evening.
Absolutely. We need to not only fuel up the car, but need to fuel up our stomachs as well, and some consolation fries will be acquired for sure.
Steve Lutz, head coach at Oklahoma State, he just told us Arizona, Illinois. I could see that, and I think a part of how we could get to that point would be if both teams on Saturday control the paint. Like if Arizona is able to body down low, and then also Illinois to use their length and to use their bigs, I could see both of those teams playing on Monday night for the championship.
I think people just look at UConn and say, oh, well, they came back and they beat Duke. They should be, maybe they're not necessarily the favorite now, but they should be the favorite against Illinois. Like, Illinois is the better team. They just are. They're the better team. They're bigger. They have a better offense. They are the better team. I think Illinois wins. I think they play in the national championship game. And I don't know if they're going to win the national championship game, but I think they are the better team than UConn. I think they're going to represent that side of the bracket against either Arizona or Michigan.
We were worried about head coaches knocking over our camera, but Josh Graham just almost took it out.
Yeah. One of our own
He
teammates
just almost took it out.
One of our own teammates here. Did he mess up the view? No, the view is still strong. The view is still
almost
strong.
took the camera
I know,
out, and you
I
can
know.
like
Yeah.
and subscribe to our channel, Bleck and Abdalla's show. Michigan against Arizona. Will blank live up to the hype? We will fill in that blank with Raj coming up next.
Westwood One! We are live from the Final Four in Indianapolis, bringing you exclusive interviews, behind-the-scenes practice insight, and the headlines shaping college basketball's biggest stage. From your official home of the NCAA tournament, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from the Final Four Radio Row in Indianapolis, Westwood One presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Live from the Final Four, it's Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you on Radio Row, live from Indianapolis, having a great time. Talking a little college hoops, getting ready for the NCAA Final Four men's side, Michigan, Arizona, Illinois, and UConn. Before we go to Raj, quickly, I do want to update this. We were talking about dinner last night and the great service that we had. All-time waiter, right? Mm-hmm. Great. Isaac, the waiter. Mm-hmm. Josh Graham is sitting near us right now, too. We told the story on the air, Josh. And I know you're just listening. Josh will join us in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
He greeted Josh like they've known each other for years. Mm-hmm. It was incredible. Well, our friend from the 408 texted the show at 310-840-4910. He followed up. His first text to us was, imagine being amazed by a server doing their actual job. Okay. He then followed up by saying, I'm a bartender here in Vegas.
Oh.
And I'm getting pumped for my shift after hearing about Isaac.
Okay.
Love the show, boys.
All right.
Shout out.
Okay. Well,
Shout out.
Come on, Mr.
Inspiration.
408.
Inspiration.
Then, yeah, you
Give
should.
the Isaac service.
Okay, well, if you're a bartender, then you should know that someone going above and beyond
It's
in the
fantastic.
service industry is something to be appreciated.
Yeah, don't be like Bleck Abdalla, below and subpar.
Yeah, and someday, maybe,
Above and beyond for you.
maybe
Yes.
someone will be hanging your jersey in the rafters of the service industry.
Bleck Abdalla live from Indianapolis in the Final Four. Raj Sharon produces our show each and every day, live from Colorado. Parts unknown. Raj, what do you think about that? Bleck Abdalla, subpar. Below and subpar. What do you
Below
think?
and subpar.
Hello, Raj.
There it
Hello,
is.
guys. How are you guys? Actually, I shouldn't even ask. I know how you guys.
Just absolute disgust with
Yeah.
us.
just pure, unadulterated disgust. All right, we ready to play some fill in the blank, fellas?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. First up, Abdalla, you're going to take this one first. Michigan versus Arizona. Blank live up to the hype.
I hope it does. Will. I'm going to say will. It's going to be close, but the problem is with close games, just because it's close doesn't mean it's good. You know, like just because you have a close game, it could be an absolute rock fight, and that doesn't mean a good game. Like if you jump out and this game is super low scoring and you get to a halftime score that's in like the high 20s, low 30s, that's not a good game. That's not something you want to see. So I hope it lives up to the hype. I'm going to say it will. The point spread is obviously 1.5. That means that it's going to be close. Vegas always knows these things. I'm going to say it will live up to the hype. These are the two best teams of the tournament so far. I hope it does. I'm going to say it will.
Hey, Raj, before I answer that question, can I give the latest breaking news in college basketball? Josh may want to jump in here, too, as well. But Raj, we're going to keep with the fill in the blank. Pete Thamel of ESPN is reporting that Arizona head coach Tommy Lloyd has agreed to a new deal with Arizona. The school is announcing. Arizona's new 5-year deal with Lloyd will make him one of the highest-paid coaches in college basketball. And this is important because coming into the weekend, we were watching what Tommy Lloyd and his chances of maybe taking the North Carolina job after this weekend would be. So Tommy Lloyd signing a new 5-year deal, one of the highest paid coaches in college basketball. New deal from Pete Thamel on ESPN. Josh Graham is sitting here at the table with us, Raj. So, Josh, what's your initial thought on that?
North Carolina search now narrows. Tommy Lloyd staying at Arizona. So you turn your sights to Dusty May, who seemed to be the less likely of the two coaches to take the job. And now, perhaps you put the full court press on Billy Donovan. And it'll be fascinating. We've seen it in college football. Coaches try to do two jobs at once. You think about John Summerall at Tulane, coaching them while being the Florida Gators head coach. Are we going to see for the first time, will Billy Donovan be willing to do this, coach the last week or so of an NBA season while also being the head coach at North Carolina? Or conversely, would he resign from his position as the Bulls coach for the final couple of weeks and consider taking the job? That's now going to be more of a central conversation. I'd expect the full court press from North Carolina on Billy Donovan because of this.
All right, Josh, we'll let you go work on this because I know that
Yes.
you've got all the contacts in
The phone
in
is
Carolina.
exploding.
Yeah, exactly. I saw you sitting there texting, and I was like, this feels like an Adam Schefter moment because I think something's going down. And then I saw the news from Pete Thamel. Yes, so work on that.
Work
You'll
the
join.
story for
You'll join
us.
us in 30 minutes, and we'll update this story with Tommy Lloyd taking the new contract from Arizona to stay 5-year deal, making him one of the 5 highest paid coaches in college basketball. This is from Pete Thamel on ESPN. Just breaking just moments ago that Tommy Lloyd will stay with Arizona. And it's important. And Raj, before we get back to the fill in the blank, it is important to note that we have pointed out here on this show the timeline that Josh just mentioned. The Chicago Bulls in the NBA season, there's about a week and a half left in the NBA season. Next Sunday is the last game for most teams. Next weekend, right? And then the following week is when you get the play-in and the playoffs start that weekend after. With that said, the reports out of Chicago are that Billy Donovan if there's not a change in the front office with the Chicago Bulls, could be leaving. So, like Josh just pointed out, are the Tar Heels willing to wait an additional week to see how it plays out in Chicago, or will Billy Donovan leave Chicago without even knowing if the Chicago Bulls will fire the front office and keep Billy Donovan around? So we'll keep our eyes on the situation, and that's very fascinating. Raj, back to fill in the blank. Michigan and Arizona will be fantastic. I think it will absolutely live up to the hype on Saturday night.
Well, guys, the next fill in the blank was
yes.
Tommy Lloyd blank coaching his final games at Arizona and Indianapolis this weekend. Black. But, of course, we can adjust things on the fly, which tells you what a big story it was going in, that we were going to talk about it and fill in the blank. Is this the end? And obviously we now know that it is not.
He won't.
Next, he won't.
He won't be coaching his final games at Arizona.
Well, maybe in Indianapolis.
This is the easiest fill in the blank question we've ever gotten from you, Raj.
That is true. All right, next up, you take this one. Kirk Cousins will win blank games as the Raiders' starting quarterback.
Kirk Cousins will win one game as the Raiders' starting quarterback because I think that they give him 5 to 6 weeks as the starter. I don't think the Raiders will just go 0-6 and then swap him out. So I think they'll get a win, but clearly it won't be going in the right direction. And they will, even though they're telling everyone that Mendoza is not expected to play this season as the number 1 draft pick, he'll sit, wait, and watch. I think he will be in there. And I'm guessing it will be before, week 8. So I'm going to say 1. He'll get 1 win.
Yeah. I'm going to say no more than 1. I'm going to agree with you. I was going to go 1 or 2. Obviously, it'd be way easier to answer this question with the schedule. I would hope that it's none because he doesn't even start. But I find it hard to believe that they're paying him $20 million to just sit on the bench. So I'm going to say 1 game. And then they're like, he's not the guy or whatever. Mendoza's ready. And they go right to Mendoza after week 5 or week 6. So I'm going to say 1. I agree with you. 1 game. Because if it's more, then why would you go away? Why would you not stick with Mendoza at that? Or why would you not stick with Kirk Cousins at that point? If he wins 5 games, why are you going to Mendoza? You can't sell the fan base on, it's time for Mendoza. No, you're winning games.
Do you think that that's really going to happen?
No, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Okay.
It's the Raiders.
All right.
No, they're bad.
$20 million per win there for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Shout out to his super agent, Mike McCartney. All right, next up, for the Illini to beat UConn, blank has to happen. Abdalla?
They have to continue to be the most efficient offense in college basketball. They have to do exactly what we heard from PJ Carlissimo, how they have to continue to have elite passing and not turn the ball over. They have to hit all of their shots and go to the basket. They have to continue to be that, and especially make those adjustments in the second half that we've seen so far that they've made in games. They've been absolutely shutting teams down defensively in the second half and dominating offensively in the second half of games. And we talked to assistant head coach Kevin Kruger yesterday too on what they do adjustment-wise in the second half of games. So be a great second half team and be the most efficient offense in college basketball. That's how you do it.
Black?
He's thinking. He's deep in thought.
Okay.
I'm excited
the
for this
Illini
response.
to beat UConn.
Lock Dan Hurley in a closet somewhere.
They are going to need the full Illini Nation force behind them. Because Josh told us before he joined us to talk about the Tommy Lloyd staying at Arizona news, he told us he was over at the open practice at Lucas Oil. He said that there was easily 100,000 Illini fans there for the open practice. That the story that Abdalla and I have been trying to tell people nationally all week was Champaign being under 2 hours away from Indianapolis, a short drive to get over here. It is true. Mm-hmm. Illini fans are taking over this city right now. And when I walk around and you go outside, all you see is orange right now. So I think it's going to be they need the full force of the fan base behind them to flex a little muscle
All of
on
Illini
Saturday.
Nation. All right.
That's my answer.
All right, guys, let's go to the pros. The 65-game threshold for NBA awards, which we now know Anthony Edwards will certainly not meet. All right, that 65-game threshold for NBA awards is blank. Abdalla?
Stupid, dumb, idiotic, a travesty.
You're taking all my words.
It needs to be fixed. It needs to be adjusted. This is dumb. You can't tell me that, like, look, if you want to have it for guys that are, like, you can just tell that they're sitting out the second night of a back-to-back or the first night of a back-to-back, there needs to just be, like, caveats to this rule. Like, Cade Cunningham should be allowed to be an all-NBA player. He has a collapsed lung. He's played in most of these games and can't play because he's missing the rest of the regular season. You know, like, Luka should be a guy that if because of a hamstring injury, if he misses the rest of the regular season, if he's up for All-NBA or second-team All-NBA, he should be allowed to get that. It's a ridiculous rule that was put in for teams for load management, but you're affecting the players that don't load manage. And that's what sucks.
Did you guys see Tom Haberstroh and what he put out there today?
I did. I saw it.
So this is so last night, no Cade Cunningham, no Anthony Edwards, Luka got hurt. It was all on Amazon Prime last night. And he writes, this is the new normal. New study shows that just 33% of nationally televised games have had fully available stars on both teams. And now, if you want to debate what's a star, I'm pretty sure Haberstroh is going off of players who have made an all-NBA team within the last, 3 or 4 years. So, it's a pretty good collection of players because they named 3 All-NBA teams. Take a listen to these numbers. In the games featured on ABC, 23 games, there have only been 10 games broadcasted with full stars participating. ESPN has broadcasted 52 games this year. Only 15 of the 52 has featured all the stars on both teams playing. NBC and Peacock, 80 games, 27 of those games featuring stars actively playing on both teams. Peacock had 9 games individually with only 1 game featuring all the stars, and Prime having 56 and only 19, 33% of the games featuring the stars. So it's clearly a problem. But some of this is not load management or rest. Some of it is just straight up injuries. Luka getting hurt last night, straight up injury. Anthony Edwards, injury. There are injuries. Cade Cunningham, you can't predict that. That's just an injury, right? So I don't know how to fix it, but my answer to you, Raj, the fill in the blank, would be it's lame. Because when you want to talk about the NBA awards and the end of the season, I don't want to have to go look up who's going to break the 65-game threshold and then debate the guys who may or may not and who are the guys who can actually win it. And then when you whittle it down, you're eliminating guys who should be up for awards. So I think overall it is lame.
All right, guys, we never do GOAT talk on this show, but this is kind of a funny workaround way to do it. Your waiter last night was the blank of waiters. Bleck?
GOAT talk. I thought you were mentioning farm animals or something.
No farm animals.
He was the best I've seen. So he is the Michael Jordan of waiters. That's what I'm going to say.
MJ, Game 6, flu game, anything you want. Greatest performance of all time. Wilt Chamberlain. Agreed.
There's the answer. Thank you, Raj.
You're welcome. Oh, I had one more. I'm sorry.
Yes.
The Bleck and Abdalla road trip back to Chicago later today will be blank.
Contentious.
Hopefully snappy.
Yeah.
Hopefully it takes. It's very quick. Thank you, Raj. We appreciate it.
Thank you, fellas.
Fill in the blank with Raj, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. Jason Horowitz will join us coming up next.
The Raiders have signed veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins. Will he start over the expected #1 pick, Fernando Mendoza? The NFL never sleeps, and neither do we. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from the Final Four Radio Row in Indianapolis, Westwood One presents Bleck and Abdalla.
That's right. And you can listen to the Final Four tomorrow right here on Westwood One Sports. Make sure you download the Westwood One Sports app. Live from the Final Four, Bleck Abdalla. Now we hang out with Jason Horowitz, your studio host for the Final Four. You do a great job covering the entire tournament. Thanks for joining us last week on the phone. It's great to meet you in person.
Nice to meet you guys in person. How come we don't get Adam his own? How come he's got to hold his microphone? What's going on with that?
Here's what it is.
Wouldn't you think that I would be the one to hold it as the guest, and you would get the headset?
I'll show you real quick.
You can watch this on YouTube, Bleck Abdalla Show.
So normally it's like this when we don't have a fine guest with us, right?
Okay.
And then so I would be sitting like this, and I'd be blocking Chris out, so you wouldn't be able to see.
Okay, so he feels left out. I understand. Okay,
so out of courtesy, I set this down here like that, the mic stand down there, and I just sit back.
Please explain that I didn't complain.
No.
You did that out of.
I did this out of common courtesy.
Well, so you guys, you're filming this obviously for YouTube, right? Streaming online. So couldn't you angle it more this way? So then I sit here.
We tried. Well, so normally it's like you did get a little close. I'll be honest.
I
did ask you a little bit.
You did ask me to move over.
No, a little bit. That's it. Listen, I don't care. It's fine.
It's a lot of walking in Indianapolis.
It's fine.
I did shower ahead of time.
It's fine. I don't mind it at all. I'm glad. It's fine. Thank you for joining us.
No, absolutely. My pleasure. It was nice to be with you guys last week as well.
Well, we were also joking because we have a we're proud of our camera here, but it's small.
Yeah,
and it has almost been taken out multiple times.
You know what it looks like? It looks like it would have been in Men in Black.
Yeah,
the movie with Will Smith.
Flash your memory.
Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like. It's that type of size, little larger.
Yeah,
the eye hole's a little bit bigger. But
Jason, as we get set for tomorrow, what's the big storyline you have your eyes on for the overall Final Four before we get to both games?
Well, the two best teams that are here are two of the three that have been the best all year. So will Michigan or Arizona culminate in a national championship? And for both of them, it's been really long, right? Arizona won national title in 97, Michigan in 89. They've had other opportunities. Arizona not in a really long time. Michigan with John Beilein recently. So will this year finally culminate in that championship for one of those two? Is it the culmination of yet another Dan Hurley masterpiece? Mm-hmm. And the reality is not many people have won 3 in 4 years, let alone get to 3 Final Fours in 4 years. And so he has a chance to join a massive legacy in doing that. Illinois hasn't won a national championship ever, which for some reason surprises me. I don't know. Purdue, because that was always there for a long, especially like Matt Painter can't get there, and then they got there, and it was a storyline a couple years ago. I don't know why with Illinois that surprises me.
You know why? It surprises me because living in the Midwest and being based out of Chicago, the Flying Illini of the 80s, I think because they are talked about so much in the Midwest, you would have assumed that they would have won a national title, but they didn't.
That's right. And they've had so many great players. But you know what? Like in the history of the Big Ten, I don't think if you took like top 50 players in Big Ten history, how many of Illinois players are in that? And I don't know the answer to that. Obviously, there's some. But anyway, not important. But so you've got all of that being part of this. And then, the conversation of keeping your own players versus transfer portal, and then obviously the European influence that not just Illinois, but certainly Illinois has the largest group of that. I think they're the biggest storylines this weekend.
So if Dan Hurley wins his 3rd in 4 years, some people have told us it's harder to win now than when other coaches have won 3 in 4 years and obviously won 1,000.
Right.
How do you put into perspective?
I believe that's the actual number.
That's
what I thought.
No, it's 1,000 with an asterisk.
It was 1,000.
It was 1,000. People don't have an actual record of how many he won. Where do you put it into perspective when his winning 3 in 4 years versus how long ago it was the last time someone won 3 in 4 years, which was Wooden in the 70s?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the amount of games you have to win, the challenges of team building now versus then. The differences of there's a lot of different things that are changing, but at the end of the day, you're still just winning a basketball game, and you're winning a basketball game over and over and over again to win a national title. So I do think what happened to go back to back, which hadn't happened 23, 24, it hadn't happened in 17 years, Florida, and Duke was the only one before that as well. I do think the 3 and 4 year thing is really impressive, guys, and UCLA 06, 07, 08 got to 3 straight Final Fours. They didn't win any of them. So to win 3 out of 4 with And he's and I actually think he's the underdog. Like they're an underdog against Illinois, and then obviously if they beat Illinois, they're going to be the underdog against Arizona or Michigan as well. And so for them to win the whole thing as the underdog in this group where we have Arizona and Michigan playing an historically good semifinal game, I think that'd be the most impressive of the three, which is saying something.
Jason Horowitz joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. He's the studio host for all of our coverage tomorrow and throughout the Final Four, March Madness here on Westwood One Sports. Jason, there was news with Arizona recently, and I know that the game is the big deal, but Tommy Lloyd from ESPN is going to get a new deal for 5 years and be one of the 5 highest paid coaches in college basketball. When you look at that with the North Carolina thing in the background, what do you think of that situation?
Well, I mean, I think it makes sense for coaches not to say they're staying or going. I mean, if you know you're staying, by saying you're staying, you're limiting if you're limiting the dollars that are there, right? So your agent's like, don't say that, right?
Yeah,
so there's that part. I think it's good for basketball to get a little bit of stability with some coaches, right? I'm a big believer that the amount of complaining there is about player movement it falls on deaf ears. Will Wade was gone before the games were even played. And, I like Brad Underwood a lot, and I've called some Illinois games. But he was at Illinois the day after Oklahoma State lost the year he took the turn, and it was 1 year, right? So, and that's way before portal and NIL and all that stuff, but coaches' movements have been going on forever. And in this day and age, I can't stand listening to coaches complain about players leaving when coaches leave all the time. And they know they're leaving in the season.
Yeah.
And so that bothers me a little bit. So I think it's great. Plus, he is so far removed from the Lute Olson time period that you've had so much in between that he is building his own legacy. And if they win this thing, and he's the winningest coach in the first 5 years of any college basketball, there's no reason to leave.
Thank you for joining us, Jason. We'll be listening tomorrow, and we can't wait to hear the broadcast. And,
3 hours.
Yes.
3 hours.
What time do you start tomorrow?
3 Eastern.
3
Nick
Eastern.
Baugh and I start at 3 Eastern tomorrow. We get it all going.
Download the Westwood One Sports app, the Final Four tomorrow. Thank you. It was great to meet you in
Appreciate it,
person.
guys. You
Thanks
as well.
again.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
There is Jason Horowitz
Appreciate
here
it.
with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Sponsored by Call Rail. Call Rail helps over 225,000 businesses see exactly what marketing makes their phone ring. Stop guessing and start winning with Call Rail. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Jason's awesome. He does a fantastic job on our coverage here on Westwood One Sports. And tomorrow, a 3-hour pregame show before tip, which one of the things that we were talking about, we're 2 guys from Chicago. Mm-hmm. We're in the Central Time Zone, the best time zone. No offense to any of you on the East Coast or any of those out in the West.
Careful.
It feels like Central makes the most sense because we were talking last night
Yeah.
at dinner about how, boy, the tip times for these games, they're late. These are late. And so 3 o'clock Eastern is the start for our broadcast tomorrow. We will have Jason will have the pregame coverage and then also both games, Illinois, UConn, and then also Michigan and Arizona.
Well, the tip time for the second game tomorrow night is 8:49 p.m. First of all, the tip time tomorrow for the first game is 6:09. Can we just call it 6:10? Like, what are we doing?
6:09. You remember it that way. Are you one of those people that you set your alarm? You have to be on like either top of the hour or bottom of the hour, like either 00 or 30?
No, I just set it for when I need to wake up for the place I have to be.
You know exactly the amount of minutes, so you set it for like 7:14.
No. If I
You
needed
set
to be
it probably on a quarter hour.
it'd be like
right?
7:15. Yeah,
15.
But it doesn't
30,
have to be
45.
like. Oh, I thought you meant like it's either 0 or 30. Like,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
No, I'm not like a person like if I have to be there, I need 13 minutes. I'll set it at 5:13 a.m. No, my point is that Michigan and Arizona is supposed to tip off at 8:49 p.m. Eastern, if it's on time. If Illinois,
Oh
UConn,
yeah, it'll get bumped.
of course it will.
Yeah.
Of course it will. Of course it will. Illinois UConn is not going to. What, do you think it's going to be a quick game? You think it's not like if this thing goes to an overtime, 2 overtimes, and then there's a 45-minute in between. There's a concert in between this year. I believe it's the Chainsmokers. I was told that's going to be performing in between.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you looking to stay?
No, I know. First of all,
I've seen the
First of
Chainsmokers
all,
before.
if one of us is gonna stay for the Chainsmokers, do not act like it's gonna be me.
It's not me.
Dude,
Abdalla just threw down.
don't
his-
lie to our audience.
What do you mean?
not start lying to our fine audience.
I am not. I am
Profess
not lying.
your love for the Chainsmokers. Okay? I know you
What are
love
you
the
talking
Chainsmokers. I know you love the Chainsmokers. I've seen them with you. Okay? I know you like them.
Hold on. We didn't just say, let's go to this concert and see the Chainsmokers. We were in Las Vegas.
Yeah?
And they were playing at a club that we were going to.
Uh-huh.
So, yes, we did see the Chainsmokers.
And you said, I want to see the Chainsmokers.
This was also 10 years ago.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Bands are still bands, bro.
To say
or
that's
DJs
something.
Are DJs.
Yeah, but they've haven't they fallen off a little?
Yeah, people fall off.
But do DJs get back up? That's the question.
They're just buttons.
They're just buttons.
I mean, they're playing the same songs. They'll play their hits. You think they're not going to play? What do they got? Closer.
Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Tommy Lloyd going back to Arizona. Josh Graham will break it down with us coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from the Final Four Radio Row in Indianapolis, Westwood One presents Bleck and Abdalla.
That's right, live from the Final Four, Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla. If you want to join the show today, you can call us or text us at 310-840-4910. Live from the Final Four, Josh Graham does a great job on Westwood One Sports Night, 11 to 3 each and every, we have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah. You can also catch Josh on the weekends. Linnell gets you on Saturday and Sunday, and also Monday, Tuesday, and gets to host with Josh as well on Wednesdays. I love that you guys both take over Wednesday. It's great. I love listening to that.
He still hasn't prepared any meals for me yet, but eventually that will happen. I don't know what's on the menu. He does sometimes off air cook some eggs at 2:30 in the morning and he has like a fork and a knife that he's like stirring it with, and he's just dishing takes and dishing eggs.
Please tell him
That's
that
awesome.
his video that he posted last week where he went grocery shopping, I watched it like 6 times, and I could not stop laughing at one specific thing in the video. The way he grabbed the tortillas to throw into the cart, he just grabbed like a handful of bags of tortillas and just flopped them into the cart, and I could not stop laughing at it because it was so great it was awesome. The video is fantastic.
The man likes tortillas.
I would love for Linnell to just send me a voice memos each week of him telling me his grocery list. I just want to know it. In fact, Laura could probably find this because she's in LA. Did you guys ever hear the viral clip? Someone in Vin Scully's family had Vin record his grocery list. And it's him. It is evidence that we'd listened to Vin Scully back in the day.
Yeah.
Say anything.
Yes.
But he pronounced the meat that you put on sandwiches bologna. Bologna. And some might say the start of this segment is bologna.
Yes. Well, okay, let's get to the basketball. Why we're here this weekend for the Final Four on Westwood One Sports. Download the Westwood One Sports app to listen to the Final Four. Josh, you went over to Lucas Oil to cover open practice today.
I'm sorry.
What were the sights and sounds? What?
The reason we're here is to talk to Nate Oates later this hour.
Yeah, we
because
are.
I thought for a second we were going to talk about the Final Four, but then I see your partner in crime has three tabs up with Nate Oates flexing in his abs. And
Yes.
I've got the schedule
He's
up.
counting down the
ready.
minutes later this hour.
Yeah,
but to answer your
28
question,
minutes till
Over
Nate Oates.
under. How many times does Abdalla say roll tide?
Just at the
Nate
end.
Oates?
Just at the end.
So back when we were on in Chicago, we had Nick Saban on the show.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
God.
Abdalla, and I have the audio. We can't pull it off right now. I have the audio saved. Abdalla roll tided Nick Saban at the end of the call.
Yeah.
And Nick hung up.
He didn't hang
it was
up.
Click.
He didn't hang
hung up on
He didn't
him.
hang up.
It's great
He didn't hang
audio.
up. So
And
it was
Nick Saban was
he's
great.
not Ed Orgeron.
No.
He doesn't do the roll tide at the end of interviews.
No. So here's the
Saban
thing.
was great though.
Saban was
This
awesome.
isn't a knock on Saban.
Saban was
It just-
awesome.
I don't think he
Saban was
heard
awesome.
Adam.
So we were at so we were in Chicago, and he was going through like a car wash of interviews, right? And so he just like really pick up the phone, hey, I've got Nick Saban for you. We come on, and so we're just like in a string of interviews. So what happens? I say roll tide, and there's no sound. You don't hear a click. There's just someone he just hands the phone to someone else. He didn't hear the roll tide.
Hey, it sounds like you both have a disagreement on what
He
happened.
didn't hear the roll tide.
I think you need an independent third party. I'm not the right independent third party. I think Nate Oates needs to decide.
Well,
whether
he has
or
to.
not.
We won't be able to pull off the audio right now.
Oh, I'm gonna roll tide Nate Oates.
It's in the files,
and you can't not say it back
To
in person.
answer Chris Bleck's original question.
Yes.
There are a lot of folks from Champaign.
You said
here.
100,000.
Yeah, that's what you told us earlier.
10,000 is what I said.
Oh, you said 100.
The stadium doesn't hold
You
100,000.
said 100.
It is 10,000.
You said 100 to us.
Did I say 10
No, you
or
said
10?
10. You said 10.
Oh, well, correct me next time.
I don't listen. You do your own thing. You're doing your thing, man.
You guys are the
I'm
best.
not gonna. I don't.
You're like
we
a-
got
you do your own
we got a
thing.
3-hour car ride home. I'm not gonna.
It
wait.
was easily 10,000 Illinois
10,000.
fans in
Got
the
it.
building. I don't know. Is there 100,000 people in Champaign?
Oh, yeah.
I'm surely asking. Is Champaign? That would literally
Population
I
of
did,
Champaign.
I did post that the entire city of Champaign, Illinois,
It feels
was
like it.
there. Is there 100,000 people? What's your guess? Or how many people?
Oh, I think it's over 100,000. Yeah, because
I'm guessing
yeah.
like 90. I was going to guess like
Well,
85.
Census.gov says it's 91,000.
Oh wow. Okay.
Let's go. Let's
Good,
go.
good call. Good
Yeah,
call.
nailed it.
Good call.
But I've
So-
also seen people from Chicago, like in our hotel, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I'm here to watch Illinois." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, great,
Nice to
great
see you."
Bears reporter Dan
Weeder.
Weeder.
Shout out.
Yes, I'm going to use you guys as a sounding board for a second. This
Okay.
is important. This is a conversation we're going to have tonight. Last night, it was one shining moment being mid, and we got a lot of reaction to
It
that.
is.
Tonight, we are in the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
When you show up at the airport, you see a bunch of Final Four things and a bunch of claims being made that this state is the hoop state.
Yep.
That is patently and utterly false, because that is the state of North Carolina in my
outta here.
estimation.
Get out of here.
How did I know that's where this was going?
I thought it was Kansas.
I'm asking you guys, what is the hoop state? And why is it North Carolina?
Okay.
It's Illinois because
So
that's where
I
Jordan's
think
played.
here's the thing. You need to
You're
go-
claiming Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Did you just do that?
Yeah, where do you win
Yeah,
his
come
titles?
on, man.
Where do you win his 6
He
rings?
won a title with North Carolina.
One title. Where do you win 6 of them?
Okay.
We're not. Laney High School in Wilmington doesn't count.
Where did he win 6 NBA championships?
We brought
Oh, no.
him up
Here we
into
go.
the world.
We
North Carolina.
We
the
brought him
collective
up.
we
brought him up.
we did it.
You got a mouse in your pocket?
You sound as crazy as the Brooklyn people saying, well, he was born in Brooklyn. You did nothing, Brooklyn.
Josh,
it's like the people claiming first flight in Dayton because the Wright brothers are from there. The flight happened in North Carolina.
I'll say this. I think, and I could be wrong, some of the Indiana Hoosier State claiming it's the home of basketball has to do with high school basketball.
Right.
And the movie.
And what I would say,
But yes,
and what
thank
I
you.
would say,
Hoosiers, yes.
the best there are a lot better players who came up from North Carolina, including
Well,
one
fill us
Michael
in.
Jordan.
Fill us in. Is
than
the
Indiana.
high school basketball scene as good as the high school basketball scene in the state of Indiana
It's
as
pretty-
it is in
it's-
North Carolina?
It's pretty strong.
Okay.
It's
All right,
pretty
all
good.
right, all right.
I mean, you look across the league, you just see guys from North Carolina. Steph Curry, have you heard of him? He's pretty
Yes.
good.
No. Yes.
Michael Jordan. I just thought you asked me about the UConn going to see the locker room over there. Cyrus Dimmery was making this strong case, saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I mean, it's CP3. It's Steph Curry. It's Michael Jordan. That's the hoop state. That's what it is." And again, I'm really just wanting agreement. I'm wanting affirmation more
Yeah,
than
I know what
using the
you
sounding
want.
board.
I know
Yeah,
what you-
yeah.
You're
I
not
mean,
getting
I,
it.
I,
You're not
I'm-
getting it.
Like
I just wasn't expecting Illinois to come out of your mouth. Like if you made the case for
No.
New York being the Mecca or
Well, yeah.
DMV
Although-
hoops, I would listen to you.
No,
the
it's
DMV's
not
not a state.
It's not Illinois.
It's not Illinois. No, but the city of Chicago and the high school basketball.
Yeah, high
in
school
and around
basketball,
Chicago is
Derrick
pretty
Rose,
big.
Come on,
Yeah, we did talk to John Shire a little bit yesterday. He came from Chicago. He was pretty
Shire. You know, there's a lot of players.
Claiming Michael Jordan's nuts, though. That makes me want to fight.
Like, here's the thing, Josh.
I
I don't think we have the
6
time
rings.
left in the show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To get into the fact that I think Abdalla's actually right. Like,
Wow.
like people when they see Michael Jordan, they think Chicago. They don't think North Carolina.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you get credit for developing him. He's a North Carolinian. He owned our NBA team here.
Unfortunately.
That's true.
I don't think anybody from Charlotte
Yeah.
wants to be like great owner Michael Jordan and what he did to the Bob. Come on.
I'm cool sharing.
The Bulls paid him.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan is a North Carolinian.
That's fine. I don't know where to go from here in this conversation because I just don't think that that's how people view him.
Right.
No.
Unless you're from the Carolinas.
I'm trying to think of a better example to illustrate this and saying,
Like it would be like, do you think of Tom Brady as someone who's from the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Is he from the Bay Area?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you think of him as someone from the Northeast.
Patriots, yeah.
The
I'm
Patriots.
I'm not saying people associate Michael with North Carolina first. I'm saying that he's a North Carolinian.
Yeah, I mean, he's from there.
Okay.
Like when you're talking about the hoop state.
He also
it's not-
lived for a long time in Chicago.
But when you
and
think
then-
of Michael Jordan, you don't think of North Carolina basketball. You think of the Bulls.
That's true. But I think that's different than who gets to claim him.
The Bulls! The Bulls get to claim him. The Bulls. Chicago gets to claim
Hold
Michael
on,
Jordan.
Raj will clarify for us. Raj, what's your where do you rule on
What's
this?
your
Chicago
major?
or North
I have
Carolina?
no allegiance to Chicago. I have no allegiance to North Carolina. I am a Colorado guy. It is 100% claim to Chicago. I'm
Oh
sorry,
my
Josh.
God.
Like,
Thank you.
no one.
You're biased towards these two.
I
That's
am
what
not
you are.
biased. Like no one
Well, I
is.
hope you are.
Yes, he played at UNC, and I know he's from there and stuff. But he is the Chicago Bulls. Like he is Chicago.
He's the only thing they have.
So we can't
He's
claim
90%
Steph
of their
Curry
marketing.
either?
No,
North
you're not
Carolina.
claiming Steph Curry. He's the Bay Area.
Yeah, Steph's in the Bay, man.
Come on, what are we doing?
This is
You guys get Kemba Walker.
This is This is mercenary work. Like you guys are like paying him to do this.
Who is Michael Kidd Gilchrist? You get him. That's what you get.
Michael Kidd.
Adam Morrison.
so
He's
weird.
ours.
Yeah, right. Like that's what you got.
We got Jake Delhomme, everybody.
Yeah, there you go. Now
Steve
we're
Smith.
on.
Yeah, you go Steve Smith.
Peppers, he's ours.
That's
don't
fine.
try to claim those two Bears
Julius
years.
Peppers spent a lot of time with the Bears. I'm not,
Not
gonna,
This would be like me trying to claim Christian McCaffrey. Like,
Yeah,
You
correct.
should.
no
Yeah,
one would do that.
yeah.
You should.
No,
No.
no.
He's a Denver guy.
Nope.
Bleck
is
Abdalla
nuts.
here on Westwood One Sports. Josh Graham hanging out with us.
This is exactly what you wanted.
So that's what. No, yeah, it's exactly. That's what you saw over at practice. A lot of Illinois fans, not as many as I thought, but a lot. And
100,000 strong at practice.
when you were, it's a football stadium. I don't know. They pack them in. I don't know how they
That
do
is
it.
fair.
Here's what I want to ask you about. Tommy Lloyd is staying at Arizona. Since the last time we talked, about 40 minutes ago when the news broke, we got your initial reaction, so fill us in on what you think of this staying at Arizona, but also, have you heard any other rumblings around the Tar Heels and what might take place with their coaching search?
I think North Carolina is surprised by this. I think they felt pretty good about where things stood with Tommy Lloyd, and now the search completely shifts because I felt going into today North Carolina had a better shot at Tommy Lloyd than they do Dusty May. You do the due diligence with Dusty May still to see if you can pry him away from Michigan. But when that doesn't happen, I think it's Billy Donovan. I think they go – because the way it's always been put is these are the three guys that they prioritize. When Brad Stevens initially shot them down, these were the three guys that the search focused on. And it hasn't really been made clear what the contingency is if you don't get any of those three. I know people throw Mark Byington out there, but if it's Mark Byington and the purpose of this search and this hire is to energize the Carolina fan base,
Yeah.
and you're deviating from connection to Dean Smith for the first time since the 50s. I don't know if Mark Byington is the hire that is going to successfully do that with Carolina. In fact, I think a lot of the reaction in Chapel Hill would be, well, we might as well just keep Hubert Davis in place if we were going to hire Mark Byington and pay so much to do so. I wish they went heavier at TJ Otzelberger, but maybe Otzelberger said he wasn't interested. But that was a guy who made a lot of sense. That doesn't seem like he's in the mix.
Unless May wins a national championship, then isn't it a bigger sell then, or isn't it a better sell, Billy Donovan? Because he's won 2 national championships and he's coming from the NBA, and isn't that a better sell to fans?
It is. It absolutely is. I think in terms of the hires that are left to be made, assuming that Dusty May hasn't told them no, and it doesn't seem like he has, it's Dusty May, Billy Donovan, or bust, because it doesn't seem Otzelberger wants it based on the reporting. His wife is a basketball legend at Iowa State, and they've found community there. He seems happy there. So Dusty May, Billy Donovan, if you don't hire either of those two, there's going to be question of why North Carolina did all this in the first place, and it could devolve to a place where it's chaotic, which is fitting because that's exactly what happened with the football search last time, where we didn't quite know where things were headed. It seemed rudderless, and they ended up with Bill Belichick as the coach, and 1 year in, that doesn't look great.
Josh Graham talking hoops with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Is there a name that's like a dark horse candidate that could just come out of nowhere if, like, say the timeline falls through, say May stays at Michigan, say Billy Donovan is in a situation where the Bulls do fire the front office and they say, Billy, we want you to run the show, figure it out, and you could either, if you want to step upstairs like Brad Stevens did with the Celtics, you want to hire a coach underneath you. I could see that possibly happening with Billy Donovan with the Chicago Bulls. I wouldn't mind it. I think that could make a lot of sense. Is there someone out there that, Mike Malone is a former NBA coach that's not coaching right now. He's on TV. Is that someone that could maybe be interesting? Is there a college coach who's available? Who?
There's a name I'm surprised hasn't been as much in the mix, that we haven't seen news of a contract extension as far as I know, and we haven't seen him say he wasn't interested because he hasn't been playing the last weekend or two. But what about Todd Golden? It's a big buyout, sure, but we're talking about big buyouts for Dusty May and for Tommy Lloyd as well.
Yeah.
Some might say it's the Title IX stuff or whatever. That guy won a national championship, and he would check the box that we're just talking about there. And I'll throw one more at you. A name that I didn't hear as part of this process yet, but there are only 7 coaches that have won national championships among active names. And there are only 3 that are 55 and younger. Todd Golden, Dan Hurley, who you're not getting, and Scott Drew, who turned down Kentucky 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Baylor hasn't been doing so great, but he won a national title at Baylor. Just another name to throw out there. If things get to another list, it wouldn't surprise me if there was some contact.
And obviously, if that's not the case, and if those jobs do move up and Billy Donovan doesn't take it, and let's say Dusty May takes it, who takes the Michigan job? Because then you've got the dominoes falling now, right?
It becomes the Saban search all over again.
Okay.
Because Saban leaves or he retires, and then they poach Kalen DeBoer, who was in the college football playoff, and then you get a relatively slow cycle turning into a hot and heavy one, and that's what this has potential to be if North Carolina can land a big fish.
Josh Graham hanging out for a couple more minutes with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. The games on the court tomorrow, you will be covering them for us here on Westwood One Sports. The Illinois-UConn game and then Michigan-Arizona. What's the one thing you're watching from each of these games as we get set for them tomorrow?
I'm interested to see how the shooters shoot, because when you play, and I hope you guys get a chance to do this before you head out, when you get to the court.
I've been in Lucas Oil for the last time they were here for the Final Four. I was on the court. It's insane. The shooting background is crazy.
The backdrop, the sight lines, it affects shooting. And let's not forget,
small court in the middle of a football stadium.
UConn started the game against Duke 1 of 16 from 3. That's not going to fly against Illinois. But Illinois, Keaton Wagler wasn't really Keaton Wagler yet when they lost by 13 against UConn way back in November. how the shooters shoot is going to be really impactful. And in the Michigan-Arizona game specifically, I think frankly, in a game that's going to be decided in the margins, it changes the way I look at the game. It gives me the advantage to Michigan because they have less reliance on shooting when you have those bigs like Mo Johnson and A.D. Mara and, of course, Yaxel Lindeborg. Arizona needs Braden Burries to hit shots and Jaden Bradley to hit shots. So how the shooters shoot in that setting I think is very important when you get to the tournament because, frankly, there's nothing else like it in sports where the entire year you're playing in a certain type of venue.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then on the biggest stage there is,
guess what?
It's completely different.
And it's wild. If you are a fan and you can never get to a Final Four and get a seat that's close,
yeah,
it is crazy when you walk into the stadium and you walk towards the court, how small it is compared to the giant stadium that's around you. And it's definitely something to get used to because, like, in all of these stadiums now, the scoreboard above you is usually bigger than the court itself. Mm-hmm. And it's a weird thing to kind of experience. And so obviously, they're out there practicing today. They've been here for the last couple days. Like, you get used to it, but it could be the difference in the shooting from the outside. Josh, okay, so the rest of today, what's your plan? And then what is your plan for covering the tournament the rest of the weekend here in Indianapolis?
Listening to what Adam Abdalla is going to ask Nate Oates about.
Yeah.
Note that I didn't bring Nate Oates' name up at all in any of the North Carolina stuff.
Yep.
Oh, he's not going anywhere.
No, he's not. It doesn't seem like he is. But that's going to be something I can't wait to listen to in just a little bit.
Thank you.
But then, but then after that, I've got Wes Miller, head coach at Cincinnati. The last time North Carolina had a coaching opening, it was two names being considered. It was Wes Miller and Hubert Davis. So talking to him as a member of the Carolina family, was just hired at Charlotte. That's something that we have lined up for tonight. Also, I was just told by Florida State's head coach Luke Laux that there are guys in the Final Four right now that already have deals signed with other teams, and we're going to learn about it in the next few days. Players in the portal. So we'll talk with Luke Laux about that stuff as well. I had a one-on-one with Cyrus Demery with UConn, and we'll have a lot of other great stuff tonight as well.
Awesome. We'll be listening, and keep up the great work all weekend long covering the Final Four. Thanks, Josh.
I am Duke.
I'm Duke. I'm Coach K. It's my event.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Josh. Josh Graham hanging out with Bleck Abdalla. Sponsored by Five Guys. Nervous about your tournament picks? Don't sweat it. Five Guys has consolation fries no matter the outcome. Hand cut and perfectly salted. They'll always make you feel like a winner. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. We'll have more coverage live from the Final Four in Indy, and we hope to talk to Alabama head coach Nate Oates coming up next.
The Final Four is here. Our exclusive coverage starts tomorrow at 4 Eastern, followed by Illinois UConn at 6 and Michigan Arizona at 9. Listen to all of it on the Westwood One app from your official home of the NCAA tournament. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from the Final Four Radio Row in Indianapolis, Westwood One presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Live from the Final Four, Indianapolis, hanging out with you on SiriusXM Channel 375 and the Westwood One Sports app. Make sure you download the app for all of our coverage of the NCAA tournament. And the Final Four tomorrow, the broadcast starts at 3 Eastern. We'll get you set for tip of the first matchup, Illinois-UConn, and then also the late game, Michigan and Arizona. The 4 teams here for the Final Four. And we've kind of talked about this off the air throughout the week that we've been here in Indy, is that it's a good Final Four. Sometimes, I get it, I'm not trying to offend the different fan bases, but sometimes you get a Final Four where it's like you get 3 big dogs and then an FAU sneaks in, or you're right, like it's not quite the same. Like we've got powerful schools meeting together here in Indianapolis this weekend with Illinois, Michigan, Arizona, and Connecticut. And we talked to Robbie Hummel about it. Jason Horowitz mentioned it to us, PJ Carlissimo as well. I mean, Connecticut and what they've done, UConn and their run in the last 30 years, they have been the best school in men's college basketball, starting with 1999 with the first championship for UConn. And since then, you get 3 head coaches in that time span who have won championships. And now Dan Hurley, with a chance to perhaps win 3 in 4 years, is just crazy to see for UConn.
I think that's why the hype has been so excessive here in Indianapolis for these games, because each team, regardless of the outcome of Illinois or UConn, each team thinks that they have a legit chance. I think both Illinois and UConn think they have a chance against either Michigan or Arizona, because Illinois, like we've talked about, the most efficient offense in college basketball this year. UConn can never be counted out because of Dan Hurley and how great of a coach he is, and getting his team ready for these big games and having that great comeback against Duke. And they were, everybody thought they were completely just out of that game. And I think when you couple that in a Final Four, you can never take teams out of it. And it's great. I think it's awesome. And I think you're going to have 2 great games on Saturday, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the fans are in for a treat tomorrow.
Absolutely. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Alabama head coach Nate Oates sitting down to hang out with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Coach, how's it going?
Going great. How are you
Nice
guys?
to meet you.
Great to meet you guys.
We got 4 really good teams here in the Final Four. You've coached against 3 of them this season who have gotten here. When you look on tape on the 3 of the 4 that you've coached, that UConn's the team you guys did not play this season. When you look on tape, which team was the hardest scout for you before those matchups, Arizona, Michigan, and Illinois?
It's a good question. Hardest to play against versus hardest scout are 2 different things sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, to me, when you say hardest scout is like, actions, how do you get the right matchups? Again, Arizona was a while ago, so that it's been a few months. Michigan was pretty recent. Illinois was a while ago as well. I think Illinois has changed a little bit since we played them. I think they've gotten better. We were able to beat them up in Chicago. Arizona came to Birmingham and handled us pretty well, particularly the second half. It was a game for about a half. Same with Michigan. We were up at the half, and then, the beginning of the second half, they just kind of overpowered us. So Arizona and Michigan size inside just kind of overwhelm you. Now, Illinois has great size, too, positional size everywhere. They don't go inside as much, so that we were probably a little bit better matchup with them.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Michigan was probably the hardest to prepare for, because you got to figure out what you're going to do with Yaxel, who's 6'10", 240, moves like a guard, plays like a guard, went 4 or 5 from 3 against us, was shooting almost 50% from 3 in the previous 5 games leading into it. So you got a kid that plays like that. You can't put a big on him the way he moves around. You put a guard on him, he kind of overpowers him. So just figuring out what you want to do with that matchup. I thought we did a decent job in the first half, and then they just kind of pounded us on the glass to start the second half, and we didn't have a very good answer for it. So, but I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think Arizona, Burries, and Bradley, really good backcourt, but obviously they got the size to kind of match up with Michigan. Michigan's, they're both good. There's a reason they're going to have 2 great games. And then UConn, Dan Hurley knows what he's doing. All the coaches here are great. Dan's been in 3 out of the last 4, won 2 out of the last 3. So that's the one we didn't play, but I know Dan well, and I've watched him. He's going to have his team prepared. And Illinois kind of hunts matchups. I think Dan will do a pretty good job making sure they've got an answer for that. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun Saturday, in my opinion.
Everybody's got a different approach how to handle this week, and the buses come in, you see your logo on the buildings and everything. How did you guys handle it when you were
I tried to tell our guys, look, try to have your tickets done by Tuesday at the latest. You don't get that many, so don't worry about it. Pick who your few are that are coming, and then shut it down. Just tell everybody they're gone, sorry, and let's concentrate. I said, look, man, we're going to enjoy it because you only get here once, but we are here on a business trip. Now, how we handled it may not have worked. We lost. I'm 0-1 in the Final Four, but we were playing UConn coming off a national championship. They were pretty good. They had Klingon. He was tough to handle. So. Oh, yeah. But, we tried to, and the NCAA does a great job making sure you've got everything you need kind of in your little bubble, even though it's wild chaos going on outside of it. So let's enjoy it. You had a barber come in, they had this, they had all the food, you got your area, the hotel's roped off, you go right to the bus, get in, get out. It's like, I said, guys, stay out of the mess, stay in here, we're here to win it. enjoy it. Your family's enjoying it. But, I thought we kept them pretty locked in. But, shoot, we were playing a pretty good team in UConn that year, too.
Alabama head coach Nate Oates joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Speaking of UConn, we've had multiple people stop by the desk this week and talk about Dan Hurley and what he may accomplish getting a third national title. When you look at just the history of coaching in college basketball, what would that mean if Hurley got a third championship to you? What do you think of that?
I mean, best coaching job probably since Wooden. I mean, like who else is? If he gets 3 and 4, I'm just the fact he's won back to back. The last guy to win back to back was Coach K.
Donovan, wasn't it?
Billy Donovan in Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
How long ago was that?
That was early 2000s?
Yeah, 05, 06, I think.
So, I mean, you talk about that's crazy. That's over 20-plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy's a legend. Shoot, every time we play at Florida, you could see his name on a court. I mean, Billy, he had a role in there at Florida. So, I mean, Billy won back-to-back. Dan's won back-to-back. Coach K is obviously one of the best coaches in the history of college basketball. What he was able to do at Duke for a long period of time is absurd. But then you got to put him in those conversations going back to what Wooden did. I don't know if that's even replicable in today's culture, modern basketball. So a lot of respect for Dan, what he's done. I've known him. He was a high school coach. I was a high school coach. So, I respect him. Should even going to 3 out of 4 Final Fours.
Yeah,
that's
wild.
not easy. I mean, the last guy, I think Howland at UCLA made 3 straight, if I remember.
Yep.
But I don't know if
they
didn't win any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So it's going to 3 out of 4 and winning at least 2, if not 3, depending on what happens this year's in a pretty elite category that in the history of college basketball. So whether he wins it or not, he's still in very
in Chicago, Brad Underwood has taken a different approach to recruiting, going to Europe and getting all of the big guys from Europe. And how do you approach recruiting and NIL and all of that and dealing with that and kind of recruiting guys and then having to recruit your own guys during the season and keeping everybody with NIL?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously done a good job. You look at all 4 of these teams, they all have former pros, European pros. So they've done a good job. We probably got to do a little bit better job in the landscape that the rules allow. Basically they're pros in EuroLeague, which the highest level. I mean, shoot, the EuroLeague's a lot better than the G League. So they've done a good job. Brad's probably one of the best. I think Gonzaga started it. Tommy Lloyd knows what he's doing over there. Done a great job. They've got legit pros. Dusty does, and so does Danny. So they've all 4 done a good job at asking how we recruit. I like the way the portal's set up this year better than it's ever been set up. I mean, here we made the Final Four. I mean, it's like you're landing after winning the first 2 rounds of the tournament. All of a sudden, the portal's open.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how you're trying to recruit your own roster while you're trying to win a game? That's not, and we know that agents are out busily shopping guys. But to me, it's a little bit more like what the NBA has go on before free agency officially starts. You can't say so. At least it doesn't officially start until college basketball games are done, which is the way it should be in my opinion. So yes, we're still recruiting high school kids very hard. We have 3 great ones committed to come, and I'm super excited about coaching them. We're trying to get our core group to return, and then you fill in with where your needs are based on who leaves your program and that with the portal. And we're busy working guys that we're aware are going to go into the portal.
Alabama head coach Nate Oates with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Do you like the way that things have gone with NIL in the portal in the last couple of years? Because we've heard a lot of pushback that things aren't better today than they were before.
I don't look. It is what it is. Like, you can complain about there's pros and cons. I mean, the players should be allowed to participate in the money. So that side of it, yes, it's much better. Is it great having to recruit an entire roster every single year and having nobody committed to coming back?
Right.
Like, that's a little more difficult. Even the pros don't do that. The pros don't have your entire rosters available every year. So it makes it more difficult until they figure it out. We just got to deal with it. Complaining about the way it is isn't going to necessarily change it. Coming up with solutions and getting them to the people that can make the decisions. If we got good solutions, let's give them to the people. But, we're figuring it out every year. Just tell me what the rules are. That would be the one nice thing, is if the rules were a little more transparent.
Sure.
So if you're going to allow this, why don't you let everybody know it's going to be allowed before you allow it 1 or 2 times, and then all of a sudden we all adjust after that.
Adam's a huge Alabama fan.
I am.
So
yes.
we've got to say this,
yes.
right?
Roll Tide.
So.
Yes, roll Tide. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Coach.
fellas.
We appreciate it. Nate Oates, head coach at Alabama, joins us here on Bleck Abdalla on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We'll wrap up the show coming up next.
The Final Four is here. Our exclusive coverage starts Saturday at 4 Eastern, followed by Illinois UConn at 6 and Michigan Arizona at 9. Listen to all of it on the Westwood One app from your official home of the NCAA tournament. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from the Final Four Radio Row in Indianapolis, Westwood One presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Two big games tomorrow, live from Indy. Bleck and Abdalla here on Radio Row, having a great time. How about that, Abdalla? Nate Oates stops by and he roll tied you.
Yeah.
That's great. That must feel good.
That felt great.
Must feel really good.
That felt great.
You're floating right now.
I am. I'm on
This
cloud
this
nine.
is great.
Yeah, that's great.
What a
That's
moment.
Awesome. That's great. Listen.
I wish I had a head coach for my football team that I would have enjoyed to get like a fight on from, like a Lincoln Riley.
No. Hold on. You got Caleb Williams to give you a fight on and a bear down.
All right, that's
okay?
true. That's
so
true.
let's not get
That's
it
true.
twisted.
That's true.
You got a Bears quarterback who played at USC. He didn't win anything, but he gave you a fight
Heisman.
he won a Heisman.
He won a Heisman Trophy.
Personal
We were the first show that talked to Caleb when he was drafted by the Chicago Bears.
Personal award.
The Bleck and Abdalla Show here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Jim Rome coming up in 15 minutes right here on Westwood One Sports. Check out our podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Odyssey, and also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show. We broadcast live on YouTube each and every day. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. New content posted daily as well. And thank you to Raj and Laura for producing our show and putting up with us the last couple of days while we are in Indianapolis. Raj, parts unknown in Colorado, and Laura in California here on Bleck and Abdalla. So Jim Rome coming up in 15 minutes right here on Westwood One Sports. Bleck and Abdalla sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. So Abdalla's floating.
Yeah.
We are leaving Indianapolis after the show. We're going to stop by Five Guys, get some consolation fries. We're going to get a burger, and we're going to head north to Chicago to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Graham will be here the rest of the weekend and through Monday into Tuesday covering the national championship game. So we have our full coverage here on Westwood One Sports. Obviously, the game broadcast and the pregame with Jason Horowitz tomorrow. Right here at 3 Eastern, getting you set for Illinois, Connecticut, and then also Arizona and Michigan. So we have the coverage. Download the Westwood One Sports app. You can listen to the games. But then Josh on social media and on YouTube, Josh Graham will get you covered with all the sights and sounds from Indy throughout the weekend for his shows, and then also the national championship game on Monday night.
You only need one place right here, Westwood One Sports.
It's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to get two great games. I think that obviously I think you can go through every person we've talked to, and the first thing they've talked about is Michigan, Arizona.
Yeah.
But I do think Illinois, UConn is going to be good, and I do think that they are going to put up a fight against Michigan or Arizona. Like, I think we're discounting these two teams a little bit too much. I don't know what the projected point spreads are for
a national title game for either Illinois
actually,
Connecticut.
I could tell you, I do have them.
Oh,
I do have them.
Shout
actually.
out DraftKings.
I do have them. Shout out to DraftKings. So if it's Illinois, Michigan, Michigan's a 3.5-point favorite. If it's UConn, Arizona, 5.5 points for Arizona. If it's Illinois, Arizona, 3.5 points. And if it's UConn, Michigan, Michigan's a 5.5 points. So it's between 3.5 and 5.5 for either matchup. Which in basketball, that's not very much. So I think it's pretty tight. I think that you're going to get a good national championship game Monday night, regardless of the matchup. And I think we're going to get two good Final Four games. And ideally, because we were talking to Josh about it, the sight lines and playing a basketball game in a football arena, you don't get a bunch of missed threes in the first half, and guys can get in there and practice and adjust in enough time to where these are good competitive games.
Yeah, you and I have covered Final Fours before. This is my 4th time covering a Final Four. The 3 previous times I've stayed for the games through Monday into Tuesday. Going to the Final Four games in these football stadiums, it is so cool to see. And you have to consider that the shooting percentages will be lower than normal in a normal gym, a normal stadium for these college teams, because it's insane. Like, they pack 100,000 people in these stadiums. The court's in the middle of the football stadium, and in some of these stadiums, the scoreboard above the court is bigger than the actual court. And it's something when you walk in and you get into the seating bowl to see it open up and see the tiny little court in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's on a platform, too. And I think you can tell on TV because the scorer's table is like at eye level with the actual court. So you can see that on TV, and you can see that there's steps that go up to the court. But it is a very cool thing to see in person. So if you're someone that's either traveling to Indy or if you get a chance to go to a Final Four at some point in the future, try and do it, because being in the arena, especially on Saturday of the Final Four, you get 4 different fan bases packing the arena. And that's a cool vibe that you don't get that anywhere else in sports for like the final games of whatever it is. You don't get 4 different passionate fan bases all together in one setting. And I think that's what also makes the tournament so unique and the Final Four so unique. Sponsored by Warner, the official ladder of NCAA March Madness and the official ladder of construction professionals everywhere. Conquer new heights with Warner, available nationally at Lowe's. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So, yeah, I think the scene is set, and I think that we have 2 really good games tomorrow to watch. And I'm leaning towards – I know you and I have kind of discussed the Dan Hurley, the coaching side of things. Like, I'm interested in seeing Illinois' bigs against UConn's bigs. UConn has done a great job to this point in the paint in each round to get to the Final Four, and I think that's going to be a very fascinating matchup as we look at tomorrow's first game.
I think I agree with you. I think it's going to be kind of what we've seen from Illinois throughout the tournament, where first half is a little bit closer, and then Illinois kind of pulls away. When we talked to Kevin Kruger yesterday, he kind of said it. We adjust in the second half.
Yep.
It's a game of attrition. It's a game of numbers. Our guys are bigger. Our guys are stronger. I think that's what we're going to see in the second half of Illinois-UConn, that they're going to start to pull away a little bit. I still think it's going to be close, but it's going to be like 5-6 points or so, and I think Illinois is going to win that game. Arizona, Michigan, I think that one's going to be super tight. I think Arizona ends up winning that game, and then we're going to get Illinois, Arizona on Monday night for the national championship, a rematch of that Final Four game, 20 some odd years ago, in that Final Four matchup. So, or against Final Four. So I think that game is going to be awesome. So I think that you're going to get Illinois beating UConn, Arizona beating Michigan, and those 2 teams will match up for the national championship on Monday night.
We also had breaking news throughout the show today in college basketball, and it affects the Final Four here this weekend. Head coach Tommy Lloyd for Arizona is signing a new 5-year contract that would put him in the top 5 of paid coaches in all of college basketball. So the storyline coming into the week was, with North Carolina out there searching for a new head coach, Tommy Lloyd, Dusty May, would either of these 2 coaches leave their school after Saturday's game, so the loser, as Abdalla and I joked, is it a loser leaves town situation, even though the leaving town would be to a much greener path, right?
Loser happily leaves town.
Loser happily leaves for a payday at North Carolina. So we're talking about that, but now Tommy Lloyd re-ups at Arizona. You got to watch whether or not Michigan can keep Dusty May, or the storyline that we've been following now for 2 weeks is Billy Donovan going to end up being the guy for North Carolina, and will he leave the Chicago Bulls to take the Carolina job, which I'm guessing as we go into next week will be one of the top storylines that we're following on Westwood One Sports.
If I'm North Carolina, I'm on the phone today with Billy Donovan and his people, and I'm giving him the Godfather offer that he can't refuse, because I think that Dusty May is second to Billy Donovan. If Tommy Lloyd was first and he said no or decided to stay, that's fine. Billy Donovan, to me, is two-time national champion, back-to-back winner, coming back to college basketball. To me, that's the guy. And if he says no because he knows he's getting a bump with the Bulls and he's getting more control and all that, then he's staying for a promotion. That's acceptable. That's fine. But you make him say no because you offered him that, and then you go to May.
All right, Bleck Abdalla, Jim Rome coming up next here on Westwood One Sports. We are going to hop in the car after we stop by some Five Guys, get some consolation fries for the car ride up to Chicago. It says 3 hours, 44 minutes from right now, Abdalla.
What?
Yep.
4 hours?
Jim Rome coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.